Is it like Path to Exile complicated? Or Path to...
It's similar to that. It's similar to Path to Exile.
Where it's just like a grid?
Yeah, it's just
What, the sphere grid for Final Fantasy X? Yeah.
I like it, but one of the achievements is to completely fill in the grid, meaning every single node, unlock every single thing for it.
That doesn't seem fun.
It's not great. But there is a way to farm levels for it, so I'm currently going through the process of doing that. Once I actually get that down, it'll be okay. I just gotta do it once. Once you do it for like one set of characters, the rest of everything else will fall again. Like it'll be so easy. It's just getting it to that point.
Okay, there you go.
Feels like I'm chocolate. I roll? You got me.
Okay. This will be on the play.
Yes, you will be.
I hope. Yeah, this is okay. Okay. I'm super pumped. I was gonna like proxy up lands tonight. I'm gonna like try that out. Got like sweet color proxies, you know. Cut them all out, made it look pretty. Such is life.
Such is
There you go. I got you.
No reveal. What you did, but your cord slides under here perfectly now.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, so I don't need to worry about slamming it.
Yeah, alright.
Okay, this. Okay.
Oh, I forgot about this guy.
Must worry about you for every bad mistake.
Okay. So, we're gonna Thoughtseize? Is it?
Yeah, quite.
Huh.
Oh, didn't. Ah, man. Did you scry?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. In keep or?
Okay.
I guess I'll take the show and tell. I'm gonna hit E-Team. There we go. Okay. Let's see, we're gonna play Death Ray. Sure. And play a bird. Yep. And here you go. Okay, next up we're gonna crack the bet. 17. Get a C. There you go. And we're gonna brainstorm and see what we get.
See you at it. Make it trick. But I'm making you have a hard time.
Put back you.
I don't think you trash everything in streaming around.
Okay, you're gonna eat the bird.
You don't have proxies in there, do ya?
And spin 2. Play a Shardless.
Sure.
Boys.
And so now.
Yes. Also 4.
Yeah, sure.
Both?
Yep.
Okay. Then we're gonna play a Tarpus.
Sure.
And pass it back.
Jason, why are you not brainstorming?
Because I'm not brain locking myself. Brainstorm. Sure. Because now it doesn't matter. I haven't set up. So if I get show and tell, I get okay. It doesn't matter what it is.
I want to pick those cards up.
We guess with the sorcery instant, so 2/3.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Okay.
Other death right?
Take another.
And, beat.
15. There you go.
So what are life points right now?
15 to this 2.
You're at 2?
You took Emrakul.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was talking with that there.
Surprised you didn't keep the voice of like smash, smash, smash.
I don't know, I wasn't sure. Like, I figured with the lands, I could try to rebuild more. Swing. Garza? I'll pass.
Sorry, I didn't have updated life points there, guys. Running around here, making sure
Eat the Thoughtseize.
everything's good to go for tonight.
Eat your bow. Wait, what? Sure, that's fine. And you're up.
That clear is brutal.
Sure, seems good. Seems good.
Skill game.
Once I did it, I was like, alright, yeah. Because it didn't even Jason, I just scratched it. Once I did it, I recognized it.
Went on? Really just did Jason and Death Right.
Yeah, you didn't hear about the all that.
I read about it. I didn't know what exactly happened.
No. A WPN representative reached out to Ed and said he cannot run events with proxies, or what we define as proxies. They define as counterfeit cards.
So what I also read was that someone turned it in. Someone had to.
Oh yeah, that had to have happened. Multiple shops had to have someone turn them into. So someone filed a complaint essentially, but not just for this store, for a ton of other stores in the area. So Wizards has been reaching out to them. I don't know. I don't know the reason.
Unless he wasted me then.
But so now they all have to be sanctioned. Is all that means.
It's a bit ridiculous because it seems like they're just.
And there's not like a ton of force in the deck, so just like.
Yeah, it seems like they have it out for them, but I can't really comment. It's just like we just have to run them at sanctioned levels now,
Yeah, it's like
which is.
I'm not talking about anything about it. I'm talking about this in general. They're trying to put it.
I think it's only forces in the main.
Yeah, like even.
Yeah, I mean, Wizards have shown time and time again that they're not. They don't give as much thought about the Eternal formats as they do their other formats, just because it's more relevant to their interests.
Forcing Star City out of some of the legacy.
I mean, that was the whole reason why I wanted to do the stream, is just get more legacy footage out there, is all. But it's fine. We'll roll with the punches.
Fortunately, we have the biggest community. So.
Yeah. I mean, we're in a good spot. So.
I'll try it. Or, shot. And you're good.
Hey, what's going on, Brandan?
Hello there. Can you guys hear me fine?
Yeah, I can hear you all right.
All right, that works.
Can you disable your webcam though?
Should already be disabled.
Oh, maybe that's just your profile picture. Actually, you know what? That is your profile picture. It
Okay.
looks like it's like looking up at a ceiling or something.
Might be actually. Not sure.
How you doing, Brandan?
Not too bad. How are you today?
Doing all right. Trying to keep up
Nice.
with Jason's life points here.
Oh, good, good.
All
Are
right.
we already underway with round one?
No, we're just playing some pickup games.
Gotcha.
Play a C. Play a hit.
I'm gonna be sharing the my little window here for you, so hopefully you'll see the game.
So we got 5.
Yep, we got it here. We're good to go.
1, then 5.
All right, I'm gonna start adding folks to the
I
call.
guess 1 through 4. 4.
Man, that's actually worse than you realize.
I was gonna say, I didn't get the fatty out of the sand. That's the problem.
15.
Okay.
Deck.
Seems good.
Go. Man, I was like, oh, I have redundant. Nope.
You're at.
I'm at 50.
Oh, okay.
This is in a great spot. I'm guessing you still have like a fatty in your hand somewhere. I guess we'll play a Jace.
Yeah, always call it the ice. And if I've got more than one of the whatever other cards go out, like when we install also like scoring server. Because it can be pretty annoying.
Yeah, I guess there you go.
JVP. So yeah, normally. So like say I 14.
Okay.
Already advanced that's down here. 2 advanced bonus. Start one, advance one. Score it. Draw 3 cards. Install a number of ice.
All right, so Brandon, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? I've met you, I think a handful of times in person, but don't really know a whole lot about you.
Well,
What's
it
your
should
story?
be twice now, actually, that you've met me. I moved up from Atlanta to Virginia about 3 or 4 months ago. At which point I've been playing Legacy for maybe 3 years at this point, mostly down in Atlanta. Started out with Maverick, transitioned from there into playing Elves and Zoo and all sorts of mostly green decks. Although I've had phases where I'll play Stoneblade and other kinds of archetypes.
So you've only been up in the.
So I've only been up in the Maryland, Virginia area for about 3 months. And it's good so far. But
Gotcha.
I do miss Atlanta.
That's cool, man. Well, welcome to the DC area, my friend. So Atlanta, my parents live down in Augusta, but I haven't gotten a chance to play down there much. How's the Legacy community down there?
Well, in the Metro Atlanta area, it's pretty solid right now. There's quite a number of players that have access to large collections, and so the deck pools change on a week-to-week basis. They were struggling at one point to actually get tournaments to fire on a regular basis, but they started streaming, they started posting online weekly, and turnout just started to gear up, and they're getting weekly 20 or 30 man tournaments.
That's pretty cool.
So
Yeah, fortunately,
Yes.
Legacy is pretty healthy up here too. So that's I think you'll fit right in.
yeah, the Glen Burnie area seems to do pretty well actually as far as having multiple Legacy events per week.
Oh yeah, if you wanted to, you could basically play every night of the week if you're so inclined.
Yeah, that's
I did that for like I think
that's
2
the
weeks
dream.
straight, and I was like exhausted.
I think people would play weekly in Atlanta, but the problem is that just traffic and all sorts of Atlanta area problems kind of hinder that access. So you said these were just friendly games that we're playing here?
Yeah, we're just picking up. I just grabbed a couple guys and was like, "Hey, anyone want to play some Legacy?"
Cool. When does the event actually start? Is it 6:30?
Yeah, we usually fight around 6:30.
Good to hear. So I noticed that this Shardless guy was playing the new Jace, which is a card I've kind of seen pop up in a variety of different lists.
What's up?
Reanimator, Stoneblade, and I guess now a Shardless Bug as well.
Gotcha. I'm still waiting to hear back.
I'm doing pretty well, actually.
Because Brian's brother is going to be using the Caracas out of here. We need to see if we can find someone with a Caracas.
I can see if I can find a Crocus, otherwise it's going to become a basic in a minute.
Yeah, I do have a plateau on me, actually, that you can make that a plateau. But I already told Brian's brother he could use this before I found out you needed it. So sorry, I'm letting cards out real quick for tonight.
Yeah, that's the best way to fire a tournament. Sounds like a Caracas is going out. Is that for some kind of Stoneblade list?
My Aggro Loam deck's going out. And
Aggro Loam,
thanks for the follow, Mega Flippo.
It's like so good.
So what archetype do you normally play, Kory?
Usually Aggro Loam.
Usually Aggro Loam? Okay.
Yeah.
And you're loaning out the entire deck?
Yeah, I mean, I'm streaming tonight, so I can't really focus on playing.
Well, of course, naturally.
But, yeah, it's mostly just so someone that forgot their deck could play tonight. And I have to pull out the Caracas for a friend.
Well, that's nice of you to actually loan out a full deck and get things going.
Oh, it's all good.
If you were to ask that back in Atlanta, you might wind up on something a little wacky.
Yeah, we used to have, Larry usually brings ley lines, and we started this thing called the Ley Line Challenge, where you actually just manage to win a game or a round.
Just one round is all you need.
Yeah, then you get like you get some kind of prize or something like that from the local community. I don't remember because no one's ever done it.
Right.
But yeah, here, let me make sure this deck gets into the hands of its controller.
Sounds like a plan to me.
And I'll get right back to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So the thing down in Atlanta was always to loan out decks along the lines of like 12 Post and loaning out Eureka Show, just decks that are a little off the wall to keep it a little more interesting. Of course, though, if you had a request, but the idea was to try and confuse the player as much as possible. If you're gonna listen, might as well be confusing.
Yeah, a lot of times people are equally confused whenever I hand them Aggro Loam, but it's easily my favorite deck, and I really like sharing it.
Aggro Loam's definitely a deck where there's some play to it, and you can actually make the correct decision.
Yeah, I mean, non-blue decks you always have to be really, really careful with, because there's zero room for error. You have to just already know what it is that needs to be done.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, I played Maverick when I first came into Legacy.
Yeah, so you're probably more than familiar with.
You definitely find out quickly that if you don't optimize your plays, you're going to fall behind.
Yeah.
Because you're not casting Ancestral Recall every turn, fixing your hand.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, now I'm playing Elves, and it's kind of like I get to cast Ancestral Recall as often as I want to. Elves, the deck with Ancestral, Tinker, Demonic Tutor, and
yeah, you get to play with all the broken green cards. But hey,
exactly
listen,
right.
I'm going to be right back.
Yeah, you go ahead and loan that deck out. I'll keep it interesting here. Let's see. I think that's kind of the joy of Legacy, though, is that you get to play whatever you want, and as long as you play it well, you'll generally be rewarded. You might not have to play the most optimal list of the most ideal deck for every event, but as long as you play it properly, you should be able to edge out games against most players. Of course, I mean, variance can always factor into that. There's there's some degree of efficiency that comes with the top tier decks, but it is nice to see that kind of variety in Legacy.
Yeah, I thought about
I got rid of my collection because you don't even play 8 decks when you can only play 1 format to space we'll see how it hangs out.
Hey there, Petty.
I resigned myself to this deck finally.
What was your final record at the last Quest for Power? Did you finish up was it 4-3, I believe? Or well, I don't think you actually finished the rounds, did you? 3-3 drop, so hopefully that would have been 4-3, but 3-3 and get home a little earlier is always nice as well. Yeah, I believe you, Jason, and I were all in the same bracket going into round 5. So there was definitely the chance of actually intersecting there and colliding. I always seem to play people I know in larger events. I mean, larger than 80. It'll always be that's 300-person event where I'll pair up against someone I know versus the rounds. But maybe that's just a little bit of bias towards results-oriented bias.
I need to get back somewhere so I think we're gonna put one of the reasons.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want this actually. I don't really like this. So this is probably the only way I see it.
Well, I'm fortunate here though in Virginia though. I don't know a whole lot of people, so it's a lot harder to get matched up with.
What's going on, Tomits? Doing all right? You're looking sexy. All right, I'm back.
Well, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. So again, here we're talking about the power of blue decks, and you kind of notice Steve's hand here, which looks like he's stuck on one land, but he's got that Brainstorm and Death Right to try and hedge his mana base and hedge his draws, so he's got a little bit more consistency than the non-blue decks would have in that situation.
Does this mean that you guys might look at doing modern, possibly?
I want to get into modern.
Hey, what's going on, G Petty?
All the decks I like in modern are tier 2.
Or what?
Tier 2 decks. Like I like playing allies, I like playing mages,
Actually, pretty decent.
God, I'm so jealous of Jason's playmat. I can't remember why I couldn't go to this year's NYSE Open. And of course, it's the same year that they have that amazing looking playmat for sale.
Yeah, that is quite the playmat. Just getting all the arts in there and actually make it look nice is something hard to do. I wasn't quite up here at that point in time. I kind of missed out. That was it was June, correct? I believe.
I think so, yeah. Well, it says on it June 27th. Yeah.
June 27th. Okay, yeah. No, I was nowhere nearby at that point in time. I haven't played a whole lot of vintage as far as sanctions goes, but I will hold to being undefeated in like the only vintage tournament I've ever played.
What were you playing?
I borrowed Dredge, and I think that's a good point to stop on. I'll just
No, dude, I have all of Dredge. That's actually one of my favorite vintage decks.
I was debating looking into it, but then Bazaars jumped right after I was starting to actually get some real interest in it.
Yeah, that was actually the whole reason why I got Bazaars was so I could actually play in sanctioned vintage.
Well, they were bound to go up eventually. When you saw the price of like workshops
The
was
two
rising.
that are for sale.
Bizarre seemed the most logical candidate to be the next major
I can't
rise.
really talk prices here in the store, but the
Oh,
low
I know,
market
yeah.
value. Do you need them for tonight?
I need them for next week.
Next week, okay. Yeah, I can definitely have them. And if no one's using my others one, I have a whole spare set.
Yeah, Jacob, you picked up those at a good time, I believe. Actually, you got in before the real price hike. You're working on finishing your power set, aren't you? I believe.
I already finished it. I think I'm almost
You finished yours, yeah.
done. I need one more mana drain to finish my set, but I think otherwise I'm good.
Nice.
But that's something. And then of course they announced the Judge foil,
Yeah,
and I'm
awesome.
like, oh no, now I want those.
I think foils are a little slippery slope, you know.
J Petty,
Once
yeah.
you start picking them up, you have to work on it as well.
Yeah, so I really like.
Yeah, Petty was working on his power set, if I recall correctly. He's a local from my area.
Now, where are you from?
So I'm from Fairfax, Virginia, currently, which is
Okay.
about 10 minutes outside of DC.
Well, it depends on if you're on 66 or not. Because holy crap,
Right,
it is
but-
not 10 minutes.
Okay, let's go with 10 miles.
Yeah, that sounds about okay. Yeah, it's
Which some days I'm sure that's 45 minutes or more. So
yeah, 66 is a cruel mistress, man. But no, that's cool. There's a pretty good vintage community there. Are you part of the Nova meetup group?
I believe so. It seems like there's multiple groups actually for the same purpose.
Yeah.
So I've tried to coordinate those efforts and actually find which groups are relevant to me.
Yeah, Ryan Seeley hosts one that a couple big names go to, like Paul Mastriano and a couple others. Shout outs to those guys. They're pretty awesome. And I played with them a handful of times. They're really good.
Well, it's always good to have good players in the area you can actually piggyback off of and carpool to events and get some real game experience.
And loan out some power, too.
Yeah, that always helps to have people that have power available to you. Which is again something I'm going to miss about Atlanta was that you could actually throw it in, request any weekend, you could borrow power, find the right contacts. Probably one of the few places where you actually could find multiple sets of moats as well, which is always interesting to encounter.
Yeah, I think I actually had to trade my moat to get a Library of Alexandria.
I know we had some legacy events where people would show up with, moat stompy, and then you'd have your two miracle stacks both playing moat, and then you'd have three different pox stacks all playing playsets of the Abyss and other voids. And
when Miracles was playing Moat and Humility, I was playing Hypergenesis with what's that 9/9?
Terrastodon?
Yeah, I was playing Terrastodon. I was playing 4 of them because I was just like, F all those cards, man. God.
No, I mean, you kind of need them at that point. If they're going to put in humility.
Well, fortunately, if you Hypergenesis and then just slam Terrastodon, there's an actual nothing they can do because, you can still blow up Humility that way.
Right. So that kind of solves their problems. MU, that name sounds really familiar. Is that Evan? Multiple sets of Juzams. Those are really relevant for 93, 94 more so than Legacy. But I think if that is Evan, I think you've already played them on Legacy.
Yeah.
All right, so that is Evan. Evan's a guy from Atlanta that will attest to the flexibility of decks down there and sometimes the absurdity of playing playsets of Juzam Visions.
All right, I'm going to be adding Diana to the call.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
What the fuck are you doing? It's my card. Oh, not my card. Oh yeah, I took it. Last page.
Hey, what's up, Diana? We can't hear you if you're trying to talk at the moment. Are you still there too, Brendan?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. All right.
There we are.
Hey, Diana.
Hey, Diana.
You there still? Okay, we heard you for a second, Diana, but we don't hear you anymore. Hello. You there? If you can hear us, Diana, we hear you say hello periodically, and then you disappear.
Sounds like she's adjusting her microphone.
Yep. Hello. Can you hear us? Hello.
Okay, well that's... I guess that's what I needed. I still can't hear you though.
Okay, an easy way to tell is if you, or I guess you can't hear us, derp. Yeah, I don't know. She probably has an audio issue on her side. She needs to work out.
I would need a brainstorm. I would need brainstorm.
Show and tell.
Awkward. Let's see.
I hit brainstorm.
Well, anyways, I guess we can talk about this match a little bit. Looks like it's already over.
Yeah. It looks like Mauler had enough pressure there to take that one. Are these post-boarded?
I do not actually know. I haven't paid close enough attention.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Thanks, Skype. Skype says my speakers are muted, but I don't know if that is muted.
Hey, Lightless World. So my take on the whole proxy thing is that Wizards is just trying to set the precedent that proxies are not acceptable forms of play. They can't really let stores do that without having that become the go-to standard they've approved. By encouraging or forcing stores to abide by no proxy rules, they're setting that law throughout the Magic community, and hopefully that sets in eventually with players, so that the China proxies and the idea of just playing proxy, which I guess is an official format, will kind of die off.
Thanks for the follow, the listener. Hey Mew, thanks for the follow, man. Hey Waylon, thanks for the follow, man. Is that a Netrunner reference, by the way? Can you guys play Netrunner?
I don't play Netrunner, so can't quite vouch for that right now.
I used to play it.
Finally hear you guys.
Hey!
There you go.
What was the problem?
Apparently, I needed to several times disconnect and reconnect my Bluetooth headset. Whatever.
Awkward. Well, hey, Diana, this is Brendan. I don't know if you guys have met in person or not yet. I don't think
Hey,
so.
Brandan. I don't know, it's possible.
Hey, Diana. I've only been to the last 3 cluster power events. I'm not really a local to Glen Burnie.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I don't know, I probably haven't met you.
He's actually from. Actually, yeah, he wasn't around. So he's in the Fairfax area.
Oh, wait,
in that community.
what deck do you play?
Elves, mostly.
Elves. Brendan on Elves.
Yeah, there's a couple Elves players from Fairfax. But
Yeah, do I know you? Did you play at Comics and Gaming?
I've played there a couple times, but they've been having trouble firing events.
I could see that.
I moved to Fairfax about 3 months ago, so it might have been before that you met someone.
Alright, well, nice to meet you.
Absolutely, nice to meet you as well. And Jacob here is right, or Petty's right. There's an abundance of elves in the Fairfax area. When I first came here, I think the first Legacy event I went to had 3 or 4 elf decks. And I just that almost made me want to change archetypes. Didn't want to be the 4th elf guy in the room. That didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it's like wearing the same dress as someone else to a party, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That, and then when you do fight that other person in the same dress, it's miserable.
I have no idea how the Elves Mirror is played out, by the way. I'm just starting to pick up Elves, and I
Elves Mirror
really suck at it.
The Elves Mirror is basically just a crapshoot. I mean, you just try and go faster than the other person, and you try not to care what they do.
Who's the glimpse down? I think that was a famous article written by Mike Flores.
Right, and even sometimes when you do glimpse down, sometimes they respond back by killing you with natural order. So
That's awkward.
Post-board, it's all about just drawing into your discard spells and trying to keep them from killing you in one more turn.
See, Jason's on traditional sneak.
Yep, he's back to his old
Yeah, I like
guns.
I like his progression where he's like, maybe I'll play Burn, maybe I'll play this terrible Splintersmith deck, maybe I'll play a variation of Sneak and Show. I'll just go back to Sneak and Show.
Yeah, Jason appears to have all the mana in the world right now. Looks like he's got Ancient Tombs, 2 of them actually in his hand, but can't really seem to do anything with those. Or maybe it's 3 Ancient Tombs.
No, not in Shardless.
So like it really sucks cascading.
Yeah, to get into it, just making sure you didn't have any close play.
Like running a lot of counter magic is kind of hard in this deck. You can't do like Fluster Storm. You can run Sharpie.
What's up?
You can do Sharpie.
It's in my backpack. Is my backpack over there? I hope so. It's in the very front pouch.
That's a shame for Jason. Looks like he drew into another volcanic island. So he's got Volcanic City and I believe Ancient Tomb in his hand.
See a doctor?
It's gonna be really interesting seeing everybody on their go-tos tonight.
Yeah.
The stuff that they had.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the golden rule with Legacy is just stick with what you know. It's like I keep veering back. Well, for me, I know too many decks when it comes to like Delver variants and other fringy decks, but I usually seem to go back to Aggro Loam or a form of Delver.
Yeah, and some of those decks do have overlaps as far as playing different Delver strategies and sometimes be similar enough that you understand what's going on. But Legacy seems to reward just playing tightly and playing properly rather than actually playing the most optimal choice for that week. So Steve is thought seizing Jason here and gets to see Grizzlebrand, Emrakul City, and Volcanic Island, which is less than stellar for Jason.
I think Jason's going for the cast Emrakul strategy.
Oh, he's already got the 2 petals, so he's getting a lot closer.
Sorry, the store owner's making an announcement here.
Oh, you're fine. So the interesting thing here is that Steve has a surgical extraction as well. If he really wants
Yes,
to,
the
he can
trigger.
definitely
It's not a
fire this
replacement
off.
effect. Progenitus has a replacement effect. That does not.
I guess I'll take them. And in response to the turn on surgical.
Yeah, Emrakul's a trigger. When it's put to the graveyard, shuffle. Whereas Progenitus is a replacement. You're right.
And then the graveyard will still shuffle in after.
It will, yes. Mhm.
Okay. I appreciate you.
You might as well go ahead and put the other brainstormers back in because they're just going to shuffle in.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Unless you want to do the shuffle twice.
The good old green Zenith shuffle twice.
Yeah, basically. Hey, Hagan, man. I'm doing all right. Good seeing you, man.
All right, poll for those watching, also for fellow commentators. When you ponder and choose to shuffle, do you put your cards on top first, or do you just kind of shove them in there and shuffle at the same time?
Well, I personally put him back on top first. But that's just how I grew up my deck.
Yeah, I think I do the same.
It's very disciplined and proper of you.
Not intentionally. I think I usually just like look at the top 3, say an expletive, and then say my opponent's exceptionally good at this game, and then throw the cards into my deck.
I think if I wanted to pick up my deck as well, I'd have to use 2 hands.
Hoping,
I don't want to do that.
hoping we don't get mugged today.
Thanks for the follow.
I'm getting my ski mask.
Yeah, I'm planning on just bringing my binders in like a duffel bag next time.
Yeah, my problem is like, can't carry all this shit all the time, dude.
Right.
Tonight I wanted to in case anyone was surprised that I have to have the shit on me, but in general, I don't reserve it before I leave for work. Like,
Yeah, I'm planning on just having a like I'll just read the boards and see what people need and then comment like saying I got you, I
well,
got
that's
you,
the
I
thing.
got you. And then we'll just do that
It's good
every
for
week.
people. So my problem is I'm on the wrong side of the inflection.
Pay 2 and surgical?
People who have
Oh, that's a sneak attack.
surgical shoujo.
I mean, what are life points right now?
16.
16 all.
Hey, Kory, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, man? I got Caracas for you
thanks,
right
man.
here. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Oh my goodness. Getting Caracas thrown at me.
So just to make sure. Oh, mine has a K on it. Easy.
Not only that, but mine are Italian.
I have one, so I only need one.
Okay. Cool. Oh, I think Jeremy might have
I
needed
appreciate
one.
you guys.
Jeremy Shu. He said he was probably going to get one. I pulled that Caracas out of Aggro Loam. But I think he said he got a line on one.
I guess your scoring turn. Shardless. Open and talking.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Anytime, man. Where are you from?
I'm just stressing stuff here. Thanks, man.
So Jason's picked up a sneak attack here to go with his Riddle brand. And Steve unfortunately has not
Yeah, I bought a
lost because he really needs.
online, but I'm just waiting for it to get here now.
So it looks like Jason's going to be able to try and draw some and see what he can find. Seems good
Good.
indeed.
Hey, that's a grip of cards.
Kyle, you already registered with.
I got Friday.
Okay.
The Misty. Shardless.
Okay, I gotta do the pairings. I'll be right back.
Sounds like a plan. So Jason should be at more than 7 life right now, so hopefully he's gonna be surviving.
Yeah, he's
Whatever.
at 14.
14? Okay. So he's got a Grizzle Brand in hand, so he's pretty safe for the attack.
Or instant, sorcery, land, creature.
This is where you sometimes just want to throw a Grizzle Brand in front of the Tarmogoyf.
So what's Jason's plan here? Is it hard cast Emrakul?
No, I think he should put in Grizzlebrand to block. He'll gain a 7 life and be able to draw a couple cards. And hopefully that'll be enough to kill Steve on his turn with an Emrakul. Oh wait, I'm sorry, Emrakul was surgical. That's actually a little tougher.
Yeah.
He needs to find more Grizzlebrands to actually
Right,
finish off the game,
I
which is
don't
going to require...
actually think he should put the Gristlebrand in. It's awkward, but he needs to.
Well, the issue is
determine
that he's going to need a Grizzlebrand attacking every single turn. And I don't know if he has enough time to do that.
He can still draw on his turn. He'll know what his options are better.
Right, but what I'm saying is I don't think he has anything to draw into because he's lost all of his Emrakuls. So he's only got 2 Grizzlebrands left. Potentially,
yeah, so
I think what it is.
he's trying to chain Gristlebrands.
Right, so he's going to be in
I guess
the
he's
exact
not
same
really.
situation.
Yeah.
We're gonna kill him.
I'm just not sure he has enough actual damage in this deck right now to finish the game.
I guess the argument for blocking would be that he permanently removes one of Steve's threats.
Sure,
But even then, he's lost.
it might give him a little more time, but
Still.
I'm just not sure it matters at this point because that's a good attack for 9.
Yeah.
That's gonna have the game. Okay.
Alright, pairings have just gone up for round 1, so hopefully we'll have a match for you soon.
Cool, that's great. What's the attendance tonight?
He got there. -4 show and tell, -4 Emrakul, very hard. And you need Grizzle Brands up the top, yeah. Better off not raise
It's with you sideboard.
He has a lot of soft permission. Like, he only runs 4 down and then this. Are you playing? And then
Oh, yeah, you guys are going to be...
I don't care.
All right, guys, pairings going up.
Like Kory misspells my name on camera.
I didn't realize that was how your name was spelled.
I don't even know what your last name is, man. Oh my god. Put me as the big cheese.
The Big Cheese. That's a good name.
Who's Big Cheese?
I got you, Team Dream Crush.
There's like a 50-50 shot.
Shoutouts.
I don't know what's playing tonight. There's a chance that we're playing. There's a chance it could be the mirror. There's a chance we're just not.
Evan, it's possible actually there's some 12 posts, but I'm not there in person, so
One of them is what I'm playing.
can't say I know for sure.
So this could be really.
Anuraag is not here. He normally remotes in.
I'm hoping it's not. But it could be.
I wanted to switch up today, but I got too lazy.
It's either terrifying or we're definitely not playing the mirror. Terrifying. Yeah, because I don't know how to play the mirror.
So, Kory, 3 rounds? Is that 8 to 10 people or so?
Oh, no, there's like... It's just always 3 rounds. There's like, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 people here tonight.
Oh, wow. So they just don't have enough time to do more rounds?
Yeah, they close at 9, so...
Oh, okay, so they close pretty early. Okay. That makes more sense.
Actually not long. Marathon's mirror match is actually pretty fast. The Land's mirror match is
When people don't give up,
it has nothing to like.
I'm overhearing some observations about the Lance mirror match. Personally, I would love to see that.
that point is usually the point where they have top counterbalance.
The lands mirror match is riveting,
no idea.
really
Sorry.
intricate, and usually decided for.
I also had a Miracles mirror match where they went top counterbalance on turns 1 and 2 on the play.
Oh my god, what are they saying about me on the camera?
Won the counter.
We're saying you're beautiful.
Oh god, what are they saying about me in the chat?
Just gets there.
Telling me he's hideous.
Hey, what's going on, Die Maker?
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I pretty much by
I actually brought all of that.
like I pretty much bought an entire.
I have like 4 decks in my bag.
Yeah, no, I just didn't like walk around before it was too late.
No, we do not have access to deck list, Die Maker.
I mean,
I'm sorry?
I mean, I didn't have words when Adam gave me the deck, so what's the point?
I mean, that's just how it is. It's fine.
I want to be above.
Yeah, I wanted to be about
The listener, yeah, we have a couple people that are usually on Miracles. Unfortunately for tonight, they weren't able to acquire the cards that they needed to go up there. We have 2 resident Miracles players, but
If you would have given me like the deck above the
outside of that, we have a couple people that dabble.
a lot of it was weak.
he just doesn't lose minutes.
Yeah.
Even main board is probably not good.
Main board's decent.
Are you surgically or
Oh
rest
boy.
pacing?
Surgically invested. You too, man. Are we good?
Yeah, you guys can start.
They go against each other.
So why do people roll for a higher number instead of rolling for evens or odds? I guess because the variance is lower. I don't know.
I think it's because that's how Moto does it.
To like eliminate the possibility of bias or whatever.
I mean, that's how Magic Online operates. And I remember there was a point in time when it wasn't like the standard in cardboard form, and just after Magic Online came out, it just became the standard for whatever reason.
Because if you have a fair die, and especially if it's many-sided, you would get better results by never having to re-roll if you call even or odds.
Yeah, it definitely makes more sense.
I mean, that just seems the easiest, but then again, why would it be the easiest? This is Magic. It's got to be convoluted and complex.
Well, I mean, the whole point of Magic is to write rules and then write things that break the rules.
Bingo. I like that last part.
No way.
I mean, that's what every card in Magic does, is it modifies the rules so that you know.
These are all cards. I can't do anything with
Also,
them.
how hype is it when you guys tie for a roll? Like, my favorite was when I tied rolling against Tomans, and we tied 8 times in a row. How awesome is that?
Yeah, and it's like, that's cool.
Seems really incredible, actually. It's a lot of
The best is when you go like
a lot of good
6
odds.
lands, 1 like awful spell, and then you go into the
Common
next
sense.
one, there's no
Get
lands,
that out of here.
I guess I just used all my luck on drawing.
This is
lands.
Legacy.
So, is Don a loud Magic player, or is he the loudest Magic player?
No. That award goes to David Gearhart.
Plains, Ether Vial, Classic, turn 1. Can we get the deck name
Wait, no,
changed
is that
for
an
Daniel?
Underground Sea?
Sorry,
Underground
that
Sea,
was that was Jason's deck name. I do not know what Daniel's on.
Play a port and say go. Upkeep, I'll for you.
Well, Underground Sea into Death Ray kind of tells you a lot. It's usually a bug in this kind of format. But we'll see here.
Right, I agree. Oh, okay, so that's a Jace. I would think that indicates like Shardless or another mid-range control deck.
Yeah, I see like Jace Decay. Can't tell if that's a Stifle or a Brainstorm in his hand.
Looks like a Brainstorm to me.
Okay. Yeah, it might be one of the newer words.
It's a Conspiracy. No, it's a Stifle. It's really hard to see the cards on that side of the table.
Yeah, there's just a fair amount of glare. But we'll make it do. We'll make it work. I mean, sometimes you just want Death Ray in your Grixis Sneak and Show deck, right? You just want to power out that turn 2 sneak attack. Or, well, you can do that too, I guess, actually. Sure, so he must have just drawn the mother.
The Revoker's naming Deathrite Shaman.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, it's only makes sense in this situation. Just taking Daniel off all of mana sources.
Now, what do you think of that stifle? Do you think that was the correct play?
19.
I think it's generally fine in this match. I think if you want to stay ahead, you have to use it as early as possible, which stifling activation is probably a fine call.
Go to combat.
It's going to have a lot of chances to interact. The question is how many does actually matter.
Good.
This is a pretty ideal progression of events for Death and Taxes.
Yeah, Daniel's a little bogged down right now. He's got no mana off Death Ray. His hand is quickly filling up with spells he can't cast, such as Brainstorm, Jace, this double mother here is gonna really keep him from actually interacting in a meaningful way. Yeah, I think that's a fine call. I don't think Daniel really has a good line to come back from that unless he's playing like Toxic Deluge main deck.
It's just unpleasant coming back from that, or trying to.
Yeah, like one of the things that keeps it alive is why we haven't made it necessary.
Yeah, I've been. That's pretty close to flawless. I mean, we got the Death Ray taken care of.
So, seeing the Brainstorm makes me think that this might not be Shardless. It's more of a bigger bug deck, bug control.
Well, he was playing Jace, so I can certainly get behind that.
Yeah.
Some kind of I would like it to be Standstill, but I don't know if that's going to be the case.
That would be very charming. I haven't seen that deck in a while.
Yeah, I haven't seen a good bug still deck in a long time, and
Being generous.
the Stifle does tell me though that it might not be, so I can get behind that.
I don't know if this is like the right time or place to broach kind of a sensitive topic, but I kind of find that shops that have these zero proxy tournaments tend to see some of the older lists come out. So, like I have seen Standstill at a few local shops before.
Well, sure. Like there's every now and again he gets been kind of coming out of the woodworks. That's haven't played in 2 years, so he's playing a little bit more of an outdated list, but. The alternative is you just have people that really enjoy those kind of types and want to try something different every week.
No land. My second hand was all lands. Like, no spell. I can play everything, I guess, that I don't have. Yeah. So that's cool, I guess. Well, it's 5 now. And you look at it like I can play stuff, so I guess it's something. My 5-card hand was no land except for a wasteland. Sweet. And then I had to. So you scry on top of it. And you're like, well, at least I can play something. I guess this is a start. I was like, it got even more worse. I was like, all right, I can't go full. That's just like. Yeah, like I looked at my opening hands. Like depending on what he has, his hand's either probably pretty good or really bad. Because it had double wasteland in it. And I was like, this could be really good, or he could be playing miracles and it's just trash. And he's like basic. I'm like, okay, well, he's going to play miracles. I assume you want to play. All right, sounds good.
No, I actually do. I think Goik is a pretty solid call in Bug Still. Because you just really need those effective beaters. So the reason you'd probably have Stifle and Bug Still is just to try and get ahead. You want to get down your board position before they can actually start developing theirs. But now that I'm seeing Daniel's hand, it looks like he's got a Delver in his hand, and it looks like he's got Daze in his deck.
Yeah, that's a Daze.
So this could be just a generic bug Delver deck named Jason My Sculptor main board. It was interesting just game 1 to see him draw Liliana and Jace. Absolutely, very loud Bob. This is an all proxy tournament, I'm sure.
I think people were not able to get proxies in time for tonight, so they used real cards. So they're proxies for proxies.
You know, sometimes I want to play Modern, but I don't have Shocklands.
Someone almost
So
played
I
a
could just play my duels.
someone almost played a plateau tonight instead of a Crocus.
Yeah, that's a
There's-
real shame.
Nothing wrong with that.
Waste the drop.
Was it beta? I mean, that's the only reason I actually did downgrade.
No,
Okay.
it was because it was in the deck box.
That works pretty well. So this Plains, this is what, Avison Restored Plains.
That is an MPS Plains.
Oh, is it? Is it the promo Plains?
So you'll go up to 20, and I'll go to 18.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, we are officially a sanctioned Legacy weekly event.
Now, sanctioned mental magic. That's a whole other story. I think the issue mostly is just infringing on art. Well, it depends. Are you trying to visualize the real art of the card, or are you trying to visualize a proxy of the card? So Daniel's now failed to flip his Delvers, and Don's going to get set up here with Valiant keeping the mana under control. Looks like he's not going to work his opponent, instead going to send Stoneforge Mystic and try and get an answer for this Delver once it flips.
Good.
Yeah, and Battered Skull did a nice job of actually racing against the Delver and keeping him pretty safe on life totals.
Yep.
Do you think Batter Skull is the correct choice? I would have thought one of the swords would be better.
So I think the option really is Jit because it kills Delver, or Batter Skull because it maintains your life total.
Yeah, I think that card's really difficult for Delver to get out from under.
Right, they don't have a good way to actually kill it, unless he's boarding in options. But with Daniel only on one land, I think that's whatever Don chooses to get is probably going to be okay.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Whether or not a sword might be better is a tough call. It's hard to get a sword through both Delver and Harley, so you end up just running into a Goyf sometimes, or running into one of their other threats.
Not so silent, Bob. I can confirm that the events that were here were not sanctioned. They were not being entered into the event coordinator. But now they are.
Take one.
Oh, I got the new dice. Oh, wait, we got this. Wait. Yeah!
They fancy though.
Dream Crush, I don't want to get too deep into this, but I chuckled on the inside when I read your comment about just like a real wizard. Now I'm chuckling on the outside.
Have you guys ever heard the rap song Wizards Never Die?
No, actually, I don't think I have.
Alright, I'm going to have to link it at some point.
Great.
Look at that commitment to the flip Delver, putting it all the way back in its sleeve.
Well, it's going to stick around, right? So.
The second term of Glyph, okay.
Yeah, so
nice.
Daniel picked up a Golgari on the flip. So he's not in terrible shape as long as he can find another mana
Yeah,
source.
so just put it right here.
Start doing something more relevant.
That'll work.
But this Batter Skull is going to be sufficiently large to stop his plays.
Yeah, shout out to Frank who hooked us up with the Goyf dice. Sorry, no,
I think if Daniel can start getting that Liliana online, he can feed the Glyph whatever he wants.
Right.
Come on and slam.
So the question is, I guess then he has to draw out a third land, play Golgari Charm, and then play Liliana.
NBA card. So I get out of here with that garbage.
Just realized, sorry, we're using a proxy germ token, Wizards. Sorry.
You guys are scumbags.
Oh, I
They
don't know
can- they
if
can
it
get
is
space jammed.
misrepresenting the game.
That is not Michael Jordan. That's not how this works.
I love this though.
Come on, dog.
Oh my God! Why are you not using that side?
Oh, this is beautiful.
Look at that face.
Swing for 4.
It's a lot better, actually.
Swing for 4, he says. Seems good.
Probably.
Do you block here? He's blocking.
Attempt to sword one of them.
Oh, man. Nothing Daniel can do here. He's got no mana to work with.
Yep. So you go up to 17, and then blocks.
That's going to be a huge hit to his board.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's... I'm not sure I like taking that risk, because the only way he really digs out of this is to draw into more mana sources and actually start digging himself up with the cards in his hands. And that requires he have both Goyfs in play.
Yeah, I think the Goyfs were a really valuable resource, or critical resource, you could even say.
Right, but it's just tough, because...
Under Athalia, yeah.
Well, with Don having the Battle Skull in play, he doesn't really need to play anything else. So he can commit entirely to that port and just continue to port Daniel every single turn. Van, I don't think I asked, but what decks do you play
Waste the drop.
mostly?
So I have not been playing a lot recently, but my main deck is Ant.
Swing 7.
Oh, okay. Oh, that makes more sense.
And I'll be
Makes
at
more
19.
sense?
I don't know, I mean... At least now I have a basis for understanding.
Gotcha.
Good old 2-mana turn, 7 vial.
Right. Yeah, like the first game I just like had the front hand for a 5, where it's like at least 4 times. Yeah, I was just like I'm sitting there just like, all right, that's not supposed to happen.
Sorry, dude.
Okay. Like, I'm just sitting there every time it missed. I was like, all right, man. Like I've been holding on to these swords.
You want me to add you to the call?
I was waiting to just like had to kill Delvers the entire game, and they just kept not flipping. So I'm just like, I guess I'll take advantage of this.
All right, Anuraag's going to be joining us here, and then I'm going to actually run around the room here and look for another game to feater.
If you don't have like the brainstorm to flip it or whatever, but it's just like, come on, man, I play 30 spells. Something should be helping me here.
So I'll be right back, you guys.
It's like one of these is supposed
Sounds
to
like
go.
we're playing Kory. Is Anuraag already in here?
Yeah, hey, what's up? How's it going?
Oh, hey.
What did I miss here? Ooh, Death and Vacuum and Bug Help.
What didn't you miss is the better question.
You did miss a whole lot. There wasn't much of a game here to actually watch. Death and Tax kind of just steamrolled this poor Bug Delver deck.
The only thing I thought about bringing up was Cataclysm, and I was on the fence about it. You being Delver, like, you could function off 1 or 2 mana.
What you call
I just didn't feel like I did
a
enough.
group of Lurgoyfs.
A group of Lurgoyfs?
Yeah, you know, like if
Like, I thought about
whales
it.
are a pod and dogs are a
I mean,
pack.
if I'm boarding out the 3rd equipment, I think
I don't know. What do you call a group of Lurgoyfs?
I didn't have a ready answer for that one. I was just opening it to discussion.
Oh, okay. I thought this was like a joke or something. I was waiting for the punchline.
Okay, like I assumed it was Bug Delver, but like
call them a
I
school?
was thinking to see
Like a
how
school of
I figured
Lurgoyfs?
keeping them in was also
I don't
significant.
know.
They can shut off that way if you get stuck on mana. So I was like, either way, this seems like a safe play, but
Is that right? Correct usage of the word?
All right, we got another match for you guys coming in.
So the deck just doesn't help. It's like, well, okay, sure.
Block of Lurgoyfs?
I got it.
Not really roll off the tongue.
2 games, man.
Justin, what's your last name?
Miller.
Miller.
Way to assume that I died already, Justin, jerk. I won my match. I mean, I got incredibly lucky, but I won my match.
What about like
Too bad you have game
a
2.
squad, like Lurgoyf squad?
Scumbag Miracles player taking 20 minutes in his game 1.
Sounds a little too offensive, you know.
So what's the record?
Ah, there we go. A cluster, yeah.
Oh, 1-0 you.
A custard bean.
I got that.
All this relevant information.
Good old cluster fudge of Lurgoyfs.
That's pretty appropriate.
Are there any other Lurgoyfs besides Tarmogoyf?
Yes, I am glad you asked. There's...
This is riveting discussion. I think there's just Lurgoyf is a card too, right?
No. That whole cycle of, like, Carnage or whatever, or what are they called? Oh no, that's a zombie. Wait a minute. Alright, let me just look up Lurgoyf.
There is indeed an actual Lurgoyf.
Well, that is interesting. Alright.
Would you like to guess his creature type?
What are we looking up?
Lurgoyf? I believe Lurgoyf is a Lurgoyf.
Lurgoyf?
Lurgoyf is a Lurgoyf creature type.
I was ready to cue the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire music.
How do you spell Lurgoyf?
L-H-U-R, Goyf.
Yes. And,
So I've got the Lurgoyfs up here.
On stream.
We have MDG bot. You guys can just link it in chat.
There are not quite 10 Lurgoyfs, but there are 8. Cantivore, Cognivore, Detravore?
Yeah, they all have that power and custom.
Detritivore? Okay, Lurgoyf.
Tridivore, like the Tridivore.
Magnivore, Mortivore, Tarmogoyf, Terravore.
Terravore, shoutouts.
So
I used to play Terrageddon.
Tarmogoyf, Mortivore, and I think that might actually be it.
Are these all green cards?
No. They're a cycle of like whatever corresponds to their color. So there's one that like deals with artifacts in graveyards and like lands in graveyards. I don't remember all of them.
Yeah, in Odyssey there was one for that was in the rare slot that was for each color. So the green was in regards to lands and graveyards. The black was for creatures in graveyards and could regenerate. Oh, and the green one had trample. I don't know, you guys should check them all out. They're pretty cool. Terravore was actually one of my favorites for a long time.
So what about the blue one?
I don't believe there's a blue Lurgoyf.
This is the worst creature
Can we
type.
get it? Can we get a fact check on
Blue
that?
Lurgoyf, Cognivore. Cognivore is a 8-mana flyer with power and toughness each equal to the number of instant cards in all graveyards.
Wow, that is horrible.
Are you kidding? It's amazing. Pitches to Force of Will.
It's your Miracles finisher, you know? It comes and plays like a 6/6.
Yeah, nice dignity time. Counterbalance.
Yeah, no, I definitely think Cognivore is superior to those cards.
I definitely think Terravore is a good Magic card, and I've definitely played it. It tramples right over True Name.
Trampling? Yeah, trampling is pretty good.
Seems like Wes's Morgan is 6, right? His original hand, I think I would have kept his original hand. It was like Ponder, Flusterstorm, Double Force of Will. I'm assuming he had a blue source. Maybe he was just going for something a bit faster.
Yes, this is game 2 of Miracles vs. Sneak and Show. Okay.
Miracles up a game. Who do you favor in this matchup?
Can't.
It's hard to say. Like, I think pre-board Sneak and Show is definitely favored, but post-board, I think Miracles just has so many counter spells that it's really hard for Sneak and Show to just like go long. So really, like, it depends on how fast the Sneak and Show plays. If it's like a turn 2 show and tell with like 2 counterspell backups, like 2 counterspells backup, I don't know, whatever. Then I think the Sneak and Show player is going to win. But if we're only looking at one card, or sorry, one piece of counter magic or something like that, I feel like a combination of Flusterstorms and Force of Wills will easily overpower it.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense to me. But it looks like Wes here is leading off on a show and tell. So we'll see what Justin actually has off his fetch. I think he had a Red Blast for sure.
I saw a Red Blast, Force of Will, and Jace the Mind Sculptor, yep.
Okay, yeah, the quality here on my side is making things feel legible for me right now, but we'll see if that settles a little bit later.
Actually, did I see double Force of Will in his hand? I'm not sure.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah, he drew one a turn or 2 ago.
Okay, gotcha. Sweet, and so here I think, is Wes just gonna go for the sneak attack? It seems like he's not. Which is really interesting.
So in almost every case, as you mentioned, this matchup is kind of favorable for Sneak and Show in the very early turns of the game because Miracles is a deck that takes a while to get off the ground. But in this case, where he has the early game covered by Red Blast, by Forces, it's just going to be very difficult for West to sneak one in.
Oh wow, and that Besagio
Well,
is like
there's a Besagio.
Yeah, that's definitely a game changer there.
Besagio is one of the banes of my existence. Back when Dictator Time was legal, like a turn 1 Besagio was just the most horrific thing I could see.
I think Justin found a Caracas load on his brainstorm.
That's not bad. Besagio doesn't
Doesn't
stop
give him a little
Caracas.
something actually. Exactly.
Although
Looks like
West
he has.
needs a sneak and a second red source to get around that.
So actually, I don't know. I feel like with Besagio in play, West now has a line where Justin might potentially lose, even though he has so many pieces of counter magic. And that line is he's got to draw into show and tell. He's going to have to put sneak attack into play, and then he's going to have to use the one. Well, he has 2 red sources in Lotus Petal and Volcanic Island, but he's going to have to use the sneak attack during Justin's end step to beat the Caracas, so that he can untap with the red source available and the Caracas basically beaten.
Well, that would make sense, right? So Besagio does not make sneak attack uncounterable with only applies instants and sorceries. So what he's doing then
So that's
is,
why
I
he
guess.
said show and tell, putting in sneak attack.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that part. Okay.
Jacob, you are totally right. He definitely does not have enough predict. I can imagine predict would be amazing with Besagio, especially in this matchup. I could go on and on and on and on.
Could you go on and on and on?
I actually think I could. Like the combo deck like Sneak and Show is exactly where Besagio would be. Predict would be super sweet because you've got all your preordains, you've got all your brainstorms and ponders. You don't have enough divining tops, but I mean, like, that's a sacrifice I think I'm willing to consider.
I would love to see your Sneak and Show list.
Oh God.
Oh, we're getting
Been there, done that.
Besagio's getting activated for show and tell.
Oh yeah, and that's actually another great thing here that we see. West has Omniscience, which is a pretty good answer to Containment Priest. And like, look at this redundancy right here. Omniscience and Sneak Attack means that Vendilion Clique's not going to be good enough. The last card looks like an Ashen Rider.
That is an Ashen Rider.
What it looks like to me.
Yeah, and that's going to do some pretty heavy work here too. At least it'll be able to get rid of that annoying Caracas.
So what would you do with this Vendilion Clique?
I mean, I think it's correct that he doesn't really have an option but to use it right now. The question is, what would you take?
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah, it's really hard to say because, well, you take the Omniscience and he just plays Sneak Attack and, puts the Ashen Rider into play. You take the Sneak Attack, he just hard casts the Ashen Rider. And if you take the Ashen Rider...
If you take the Sneak Attack, if he puts in the Omniscience, he has to cast the Ashen Rider into Justin's Forcible.
True. It's true.
So all he gets to do is put in Ashen Rider directly, which, if Justin has the stores for, is not that big of a deal.
Do you think Ashen Rider is really that big of a threat? I don't really see what it could do here. Especially...
It's not as catastrophic. I think actually taking the Ashen Rider isn't the correct play here because, well, it also depends because depending on how Justin's deck is built, he's got a Red Blast in his yard, right? So maybe the...
Hold on, you get to put a card in off show and tell.
Maybe
are you electing to not put a card in? Because you have to resolve that correctly.
Omniscience isn't that big a deal. Like, Justin has extra outs in drawing Red Blast and maybe Snapcaster Mage or something like that. Or maybe Justin boarded in a couple copies of Wear Tear or Disenchant or Council's Judgment.
Right, so what I'm curious right now is what stage of the game we're in, because it looks like West has gone to cast Sneak Attack, and I'm not sure if Justin's responding to that or not. looks like he's just allowing the
That
sneak
was
attack
end
to
of
resolve.
turn. Justin's picking up Containment Priest that he saw off that end of turn top activation.
And
Okay,
I don't even. I'm not even sure if I agree with this drawing the Containment Priest here, because I don't think West is going to use this sneak attack to cast anything, right? So what's going to happen is if West does choose to use a sneak attack, he would pay red mana. In response, Justin would flash in the Containment Priest, and then West would just not put anything into play, and then just hard cast whatever card he has because he's got omniscience, right?
Right. That seems like what would happen in that case.
Oh, and this was a great use of Spell Pierce here. I think what Wes is doing here is he's trading the card that he has in hand for the selection economy that Justin has in the form of his fetch lands, because each of those fetch lands is an additional 6 cards, and that's a lot of vision. That I think I'd even be willing to trade if I had the Spell Pierce in my hand.
Mm-hmm. So Justin picks up that Entreat, which was the last card down.
Yeah, which is really interesting. I'm not sure. Oh, maybe he's gonna try and no, he's not gonna. Is he gonna target himself? Push the Entreat down? I'm not really sure.
He's doing it on draw step. He's bouncing it with Grokkus and then playing it on West's draw step.
Okay. Alright, gotcha. So then West drew political.
And we're in the end step right now.
Yeah, I mean, from this position, I think Justin should be able to take it. He's going to have to play a little carefully to make sure he doesn't, lose to something like Emrakul on the top of Wes's deck.
Hey, what's up, Neeraj? How you doing, man?
Counterbalanced a pretty sweet draw there.
Yeah, it looks like he might have found another force too. Was that, or was that the counterbalance? Couldn't quite tell.
I saw a counterbalance.
Okay, there's the counterbalance. Okay.
I think it was like counterbalance, ponder, and tundra.
Okay, I mean, so his concern here is that he just needs to keep his click in play. If his plan is just to bounce the return. So he's really only worried about counter magic. Like if West draws another force equivalent and just gets cast with his Visager, it could be an issue. Is 4 his correct life total though? Because if that's the case, it might not even matter. At this point, Justin might just have enough damage in his hand to fight through counter magic.
That makes sense, yeah.
I didn't even realize he shared the same last name as Kylo Ren, Diana.
Wow, someone wasn't paying attention to the fine details.
Are you related?
I think the answer to that is self-evident.
Ah, he found a force of will. Jeez.
Wow.
I mean, I don't think it's gonna matter in this situation. At least it's
That's a solid draw.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah, and he's gonna force a will to the dealing quick, yep.
Right, and now, here's what I said though, is does it even matter though? Because there's 2 damage in play. So West really only has 1 draw, and he has to fight through this force will that Justin just found. So
it's likely not going to matter.
It's not going to make a difference in this situation. Hey, Team Dreamcrush. The problem is that he's at 4 life, so if he uses a Visager, he's going to die immediately to the Containment Priest.
He could draw Emrakul. And then just hard cast Emrakul, and then
Take an extra turn seems pretty good.
Wow!
I'm sorry, I so totally telegraphed that.
That's beautiful.
Okay. Well,
So those that did not see, I just 4chan faced when I saw what West drew.
But again, doesn't matter because he just sacks 6 permanents and attacks him back with the Containment Priest.
yeah, we'll have to see what that other draw is. He probably has to draw like another Emrakul. That would be insane.
If he did it, I'm gonna cry. But this is this is so depressing for me as far as playing as Sneak. This always seems to happen.
And so, actually, the important thing right now is he needs to take the opportunity to red blast the Omniscience now, or
Sorry?
After that Snapcaster.
Yeah, he could have used the Caracas.
Yeah, Snapcaster is really. It's just the planes
No,
now.
I think we run a third
So-
line over it, unfortunately. 'Cause it's too slow.
Let's see.
Wait, is he not activating?
Like, Dredge can actually
Yeah.
kill us before we
Okay, well, that's it.
Well, before you untap with the knight.
Right.
Oh,
I feel it would just be like randomly night. It didn't matter. I was dead on like.
Yeah, that was exciting. Dr. Terrier, he was not necessarily dead. Like if you drew
was
like
really hoping you would draw
Emerald,
two Emerald,
then Wes had a chance of winning. I mean, that was slim and unlikely, but I mean, like an out is an out.
Yeah, I think running Emeralds is pretty much his only line there. I don't think he can draw a cantrip because... Oh, I'm sorry, Justin's at 1 after the attack, right? So.
Black. The wild card was Emerald. At this point, Justin had the board pretty locked up. He had counterbalance and top and play. He had a containment priest to turn off sneak and show. He had a Caracas to turn off like Bristlebrand.
Most of my matches very fast. Easily 2 my
And you know, Wes was at 2 life and like was dead next turn to Snapcaster and Containment Priest. So drawing Emerald Pool there, hard casting it. You know, it's uncounterable. Gives him another turn. He can attack, buy another draw step, and potentially win that way.
So real quick, one thing someone pointed out in chat that I didn't even think of. The first time when you went to play Vendilion Click, when the first time you had Force, if you actually cast it with Boseiju, he can't fight you over it, and it just straight is Force. I didn't even think of that line.
That's
This
true,
was
but
before
in
he
that
had Containment
case,
Priest. So.
Hey, so there were some questionable plays on both sides because I also think
Right.
Justin was a bit
like, I had
aggressive.
to actually use my life total correctly, so if I'd have actually used it, I've been down 2 more life, which I'd have probably died sooner. I probably wouldn't be able to see anyone.
Well, I mean, you would have had draw steps is the only thing you would have had. Because this was before he was actually pressuring your life points. But I didn't even think of that. That was an interesting line. Yeah, good catch there, Yuckies.
Actually, yeah. Wait. So, how many times did the Vendilion Click attack? Because
I mean, it brought him from 16 to 5.
Wow. Okay, yeah. So that's a lot of damage, and I think just having that time available would have made.
Or no, wait, I'm sorry. It took him from 14 to 13, 8, 5. Yeah, it took him from 14 to 5.
Okay. Neeraj, is that like some sort of like mythological creature?
Who knows? Let's hear it from Neeraj.
Yeah.
I like the sudden shock, though.
Yeah, that sudden shock is a really nice one. Actually, it was so depressing. I was playing online, and I was in an 8-man, and I get paired up against Burn, which I thought used to be a good matchup, but with the printing of Firecraft, I think it's not a great matchup anymore. And this guy goes turn 1 Gitaxian probe into Mishra's bauble, and I just start freaking out.
I wasn't sure what to do in that position. I think I settled on the same line as take the...
And then he kills me both game 1 and 2, or no, sorry, game 2 and 3 with the sudden shock.
I think that's the only reasonable line. Another line is you take his sneak, he puts Omniscience into play, and you force his... the angel. Or the whatever the new templated angel is. I can't remember what it's called.
The what? Ashen Rider?
Ashen Rider. Yeah, thank you.
It ended up being very similar to
For those who are curious, the old card Kory's referring to as Angel of
back to that
Despair.
play, it wouldn't have mattered because I left force on top.
Oh, really?
So it would have been he would have took either.
If you ship the turn, then with Ashen Rider,
I
man.
was drawing into force.
Thanks for the follows, guys. Yeah, every Tuesday, man.
Good luck next round.
Actually, that's an interesting question. What is your streaming schedule? Looks like you were streaming Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
It should be located below in the description, and it should be every Tuesdays at 6:30 to 9, or until we finish up. 3-round Swiss. And then Wednesdays, I stream from Cure Cavern Wednesdays. I just said that at 7:30, I believe. And that's a 4-round event usually.
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Thank you, Anuraag. And then Friday nights at also usually at HQ Games, and that starts at 9. Although that might get pushed to 8.
Hey, I just, for the first time, scrolled down on this stream page and saw our little informational sections. I see we have profiles.
Yeah, I just started adding one for you guys. If you want to ship me like some deets
Can we
about
write
you
our
guys,
own like fun facts about ourselves? Do they have to be true?
No, dude, whatever you guys ship me, I'll put in there.
Whatever. All right. I like that.
Yeah, man. How you doing, Tomits?
Doing well.
You want to join us for commentary?
No.
You guys? Oh no. Okay.
I don't know if I can handle that.
Hey, wait a minute. Is Tomits not playing?
What?
Hey.
Onzi104 donated $5. Who was that?
Yeah.
Who's Onzi104?
That would be me.
That was you? Wow. Awesome, man. Thanks for the donation. Hey, look, you're on now the first recorded donor on the scroller. Unbeknownst to most viewers up until now, under the viewers, there's actually a ticker that keeps track of donations, but no one had donated before.
Awesome. And this is just, if Rudy ever watches this, I just want him to know.
Well, so it is worth noting, Rudy was actually the very first donor at a whole $1. I haven't found a way to add him to that little ticker yet, though. I'm still working on that one.
Your name's gonna be immortalized for around the stream.
That is great. That's just an extra perk.
We've been just destroyed. I think I've lost like one match in like the last 3 tournaments of this.
Oh, really? Let's see it.
Hey, Kevin, this is in Glen Burnie, Maryland.
I've been telling Dave.
I believe.
No one knows how to play against.
Of note, though, Diana, Anuraag, and myself are joining remotely via Skype.
No. They're used to people playing the decks badly. Like, I just played against Death and Taxes, and in game 2, I didn't win the game until like turn 15 or 16 because I was just like, wait.
Not so silent, Bob. I'm not sure. It's not hiccuping on my end. Is anyone else experiencing that?
Go the fuck all pass with like 10 drivers and play go. And they're like,
yeah, they can't beat it.
I remember when I played Legacy for the first time at games and stuff in the old location. You were playing Dredge.
Kevin, we're currently located in Glen Burnie, Maryland.
almost all Japanese.
Is where the shop we're streaming from tonight. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be in Springfield, Virginia. And Friday, I'll be up in Ellicott City, Maryland. And then the events that we stream are usually located around the D.C. Baltimore area.
Oh, speaking of proxies, Dr. Terrier and everyone else, did you guys hear about what happened about someone from the Wizards Play Network sending out an ominous no proxy message?
No, we didn't hear. Tell us what happened.
Oh my
Yeah, that
goodness.
actually went out to my stores back in Atlanta as well.
Yeah, was it oh my god, wait, hold on, we need to take a moment here. Neeraj donated $5.
Neeraj.
Wait, is Neeraj commentating with you?
No,
Well, let's
he
just
just
ignore Anuraag then.
he just beat Anuraag's donation by 1 cent.
That is great, thank you,
The
Neeraj.
price is right.
You are the top donator.
You're right, Brendan. Let's just talk right over Anuraag.
Yeah, actually, so
I mean, like,
I've heard
Anuraag's donation is no longer relevant.
that is true. I've heard from multiple, Northern Virginian locals that they've been asked to stop hosting events, where they allow unsanctioned events where they allow proxies, and we're not really sure why. But it seems like one of those. What are the implications? I think, or rather, why is this important? It's because of the implications, and if you think about it, right, the only events that really have proxies are Vintage and Legacy, right? Standard, Modern, and Limited ones. Generally, people don't really, have problems getting the cards that they need. So it seems like a really biased or some sort of like, well, I don't want to say it's biased, but it seems like there's a very specific implication to whatever that message is. What do you guys think about it?
Yeah, well, I kind of talked about this earlier with some of the people. So, I think the general idea is that they're cracking down on the idea of having an alternate form of magic. Proxy magic represents an alternate way to play the game, and it's not the image that Wizards wants to represent when they advertise their product. So it might not be so much about not buying Wizards product and not spending money on cards as it is misrepresenting their game the way they want it to be shown.
That's interesting.
Part of it is the fact that it's an event that's organized by the store that also organizes official Wizards events. You know what I mean? So like the store's making money off of this. They're holding it as one of their regularly scheduled events, as opposed to a group of players just getting together and doing this for themselves.
Sure, and so you take that into consideration. Is a Wizard Play Network store accountable for the events that they run? And should they be bound by Wizards rules, essentially to run only sanctioned events and only allow non-proxies to be played in their store? And that really boils down to the question of, do you think Wizards has a local authority? Or is it on the stream to make money, or on the store name to make money in any way they see possible?
I don't know about local authority per se, but they certainly, I don't think there's any dispute that they have the final say over a store's WPN status. So that's really what's being leveraged here.
And so they're just holding this giant hammer that says, if you want to continue to do what you're doing, we're not going to support you anymore. We're not going to give you FNMs, we're not going to give you pre-releases, we're not going to give you PTQs, or any of the events you really need to survive.
And actually, I was reading some comments, and now that I think about it, do you guys know about that specific detail? Like, did they say no proxies at all, or just not having events with proxies? Because I mean, those are two very big different things. Like, if proxies are not allowed at all, right? Then like even like just like casual testing, like play testing by you. Let's say like I want to play against Brandan with my proxy power 9 to get a little taste of what vintage is like. Even casually in a non-tournament environment, I wouldn't be allowed to technically. If they're saying that it's not just events like we generally.
Yeah, I don't know for sure what the actual wording is on those letters as to whether they're trying to say stores do not allow proxies in your store or stores do not allow proxies in your events. So that's an interesting thing to try and find out. I have a feeling that they're only implying actual events because that's the only means of contact they have, is in saying we don't want the stores to facilitate these kind of proxy magic settings.
Okay. Yeah, Aggro Effect is saying that it's been bits of both. I wonder if Wizards is going to make a formal statement about this, with an explanation, I suppose, of why they are making such a decision. As somebody who exclusively plays Legacy and is sort of starting to get into Vintage, it seems I am going to be I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit salty because these are the two formats that are probably getting affected the most. Now, also, maybe in some places there are stores that run modern tournaments where they allow a couple proxies, considering that some of the prices on modern cards are climbing. But yeah, the impact is less than desirable. And Diana just showed me an actual message to one of the shops. Quote, as we discussed. Oh, what's up?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Just quoting as the letter says, as we discussed, we received information concerning some questionable or undesirable activity that occurred at your store. We understand many of these issues stem from misconceptions or miscommunications, and I have summarized what we discussed below. So that's interesting. What we discussed below. That means they probably have prior talks about this. Maybe when they first started. Magic events, sanctioned and unsanctioned, can only allow genuine Magic the Gathering cards. Proxy cards are substitute cards created solely by judges in sanctioned tournaments pursuant to the official tournament rules. These substitutes are allowed when authorized game cards become unplayable during a sanctioned tournament because of damage or excessive wear. There's something about counterfeit cards being bad, and counterfeits are strictly prohibited. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like the real interesting part here is to see what a large event like Eternal Weekend is going to do. Because if I recall correctly, they did side events with like 10 proxy vintage in the past. And so now that they're no longer essentially permitted to do those as an organizing event.
No, wait a minute. So Eternal Weekend, like Legacy Champs and Vintage Champs, I don't think there are proxy side events.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong
I think you might be referring to Eternal Extravaganza. Is that the one you're thinking of?
Probably.
Possibly. I just recall there being a 10 proxy side event at some of those.
Yeah, actually no. The vintage event at Eternal Extravaganza allowed, I think, 15 proxies, maybe.
One of them. I'm not sure which one it was, but it probably wasn't on Eternal Weekend because that is pretty formal. So I mean, I really don't think the intent here is to directly target Legacy and Vintage events. I think they're just the biggest victim of this kind of this kind of new policy.
That makes sense. I imagine it's not like, one specific reason. There's like probably like 10 different smaller reasons that all eventually add up and result in this. But what's interesting is that they are responding just now. Like I wonder why. I mean, maybe did they communicate before? I imagine that this isn't the first time that proxy events are being run. And what's also interesting is that whatever. We can go on and on about this, but yeah. Kory, do you know if there are any other games to watch? It seems like the round timer is about to end, so likely not.
Yeah, I would assume that we're just waiting for the next round to start. Ooh, Dream Crush, those pesky Legacy players.
Right. I mean, what would happen if Wizards just suddenly said hey, we're no longer doing Legacy? What would happen? Do you think those Legacy players would start playing Modern and Standard?
Well, I think the question is
doing Legacy.
All right, appreciate it.
I think the question is, what do they mean by that? Do they mean we're not doing it at Grand Prix anymore? Because otherwise, they don't really have a big role in anything besides. Most of the Legacy Magic nowadays is all independently done by independent stores.
Okay, that's a good point.
So, I mean, the only thing that they would be taking away is sanctioning for those events.
Well, okay, so it's like Extended, right? Like Extended got killed as a format.
Right, but you can still sanction extended events, I recall, right? Or did they remove those completely?
I believe it's gone as a format.
It still technically exists, it's just no one ever plays it. Hey guys, this is Kory here. Real quick update.
Let's check on this.
Real quick update. We're in turns right now. We're waiting on one game to finish up, and then we're going to be going to the next round.
Here we go. Here's the relevant announcement. As of October 7th, 2013, Wizards of the Coast no longer recognizes Extended as a sanctionable format.
Oh, wow.
Tournament organizers may no longer sanction Extended events, and Extended is no longer supported on Magic Online.
Wow.
So that's what I mean by removing a format completely. This has been done within recent memory. So if that happened to Legacy, I certainly would be very upset.
Team Dream Crush. I don't believe any of the employees are part of the commentating cast. So yeah, Brandan, did you get a chance to talk about the Legacy for Power Mox Movie event that happened this past weekend?
I have not, no.
Alright.
I know you top-aided that event.
Oh yeah, and I know you top-aided that event, so congratulations, yeah. You were playing Elves, right? Over the 7-round event, over the course of the 7-round event?
Yeah, I went 5-1-1 with an intentional draw there. Elves. My loss was to Lance on Ruby, who also top-aided.
Oh, great, okay. Is there anything notable about your list you think you did differently?
Well, apart from the typical list of elves, I'm playing a main board Fintorn elf a main board.
That helps a lot. As long as like you're mindful of it on the floor.
That's about the only dramatic changes I ever made. I mean, dramatic's a strong word. But I mean, else this is a pretty tight list. So there's not
I still had to use the rig to be able to like do cable management.
So
I'm
you're
working on
playing the
building another
Finboard
rig for
elves
that.
over what, the 20th lands?
No, I'm still playing 20 lands, which is interesting.
Okay.
I'm not playing the fourth
And
metal
what was your name
symbol.
again? I'm
Is
sorry.
the big one. I know some players are keen on playing a fourth Heritage Druid.
So I guess you're okay being on the stream and it getting uploaded
So,
to YouTube
Heritage-
after and all that good stuff.
Heritage Druid is often the best card in your deck or the worst card in your deck.
I gotcha.
So
Like a
I'm
high
not.
variance kind of thing?
Well, right. They're very bad in multiples, and if you don't have the right board state, they're just completely useless.
Jacob,
Yeah,
Jacob
I wish I
understands
could
me,
predict.
by the way. Just saying.
So I don't know, like, how do you make that work in else? Like, you have to have, like, I play 4 predicts, and then I have to play like one of the lanterns to be able to see the top card of my deck, and then I'm always right.
No, you just have to be, good to be good. That's it.
Oh,
Straightforward.
it has to be as good as you. Okay.
As good as
I
me.
believe you play Oracle of Moldiah.
Ooh, that's a good one.
No, that's you actually do. Yeah, absolutely. So, Anuraag, you also, I believe you went 5-1-1 as well.
With an intentional draw.
An unintentional draw.
Yeah, sorry, not an unintentional, one intentional draw. It was round 1, and it was really unfortunate because that's just not the way you want to start your event ever.
Correct. You were playing 3 predicts.
Oh, yeah, and I probably should have played 4. The card is just insane. I was playing against, there's so many, like, stories, like, I think my favorite one is, I was playing the mirror match, and my opponent dissolved countertop, and had just brainstormed, and so I Fate Seal, and he does some shenanigans, and then I managed to cast a Wear Tear, and he isn't able to find a 3. The Wear Tear is fused, so he taps his top, puts it on top, and his counterbalance dies. And then before he gets a chance to do anything else, I predict to send his Divining Top away, and just get all the feel goods.
I guess that does come up a lot, actually.
How many feel goods
Miracles
was that?
Every single one. All the ones that exist. And then the other one that was awesome was I was playing against Bob Marshall, and he was on this awesome Delver list, and he managed to resolve 2 Painful Truths on turns like 3 and 5, and I just like felt like there was no way coming back. But then I cast the first predict, the second one, flashed the first one back, cast the third one, and then suddenly the tables were reversed, and I had like 7 cards in hand, and he was just like, ground to the dust. It's really sweet. But it seems like the next round is starting. We have Ryan on Patriot Delver and Frank on Blank. Looks like Death and Taxes.
Yeah, I'm going to say Death and Taxes so far. Looks like he's got a Wasteland, Stoneforge, Thalia, and something else.
Turn 1 Plains probably means there's a high chance of a turn 2 play. Because you're probably not going to keep a hand with 2 lands and no action until like turn 3 or whenever.
Yeah, that would be unusual, certainly. You'd have to have a really good reason. I can't really come up with one.
So Ryan fails to blind flip his Delver. He's going to follow up here with a Stoneforge. So it's a bit worrying to see that Wasteland on Frank's side of the board, because there's potential here that he just plays a second Wasteland and plays a port and kind of blocks Ryan out of the game as far as mana is concerned, and that Jete is never going to be relevant.
Yeah, that's true.
Of course, then the Delver flips and kills him. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, did we see another land in Ryan's hand?
Oh, that looks like the Stoneforge Mystic Showdown coming down here.
Cue cowboy music.
So Frank does have a Source of Laughter right on top there. So he won't be too concerned with the Delver secrets.
And that's really interesting. That's like a really aggressive attack with Thalia, right? So that must, like, if you're Ryan, you see like Frank just like fearlessly attack with a Thalia. Like, what's going on in your head? Do you make the read on the Swords to Plowshares, or just from the very beginning do you not care about the Thalia dealing 2 points of damage? Your creatures are just too valuable.
I think you should not double block that Thalia. That's not a good play.
Right, like I don't see a downside to attacking with the Thalia here, just because I don't think he's ever going to get the chance to block with it. So like if the Delver flips, it flies over the Thalia, and the Stoneforge stays back to activate. And if it doesn't flip, I don't think he'd ever attack anyways.
Alright, and this is really, really interesting. Look, so Ryan had to pay 1 to cast a Gitaxian Probe, which probably means he doesn't have a second land. Is that a cue you pick up? Or because if he had a second... Oh yeah, because if he had a second land, he would probably just slam it and then, put the the Jit into play, right?
Yeah, I can't think of an alternative to what you're describing.
Well, interestingly here, I think Frank wastelanded him during upkeep, so he did have the opportunity to actually activate his Stoneforge Mystic.
Okay.
Unless that was a retroactively attack. I meant to do that like end of turn or whatever else he was trying to do.
Gotcha.
So I think he did have the option to actually put the Jit into play.
Can we get a clarification on that, Kory? Did you catch it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
I'm an 18 to 20.
Was the wasteland during his upkeep?
Or did they perform like a catch-up action, like I wanted to waste you at the end of your turn?
Oh yeah, what phase did you wasteland him? That was on upkeep? Okay.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, Frank essentially just gave him the option then to play Swords to Plowshares, to play Lightning Bolt, to activate his Stoneforge Mystic.
Do you think Ryan let that
to play Brainstorm and so
pass accidentally?
Well, it seems like he tapped his Tundra, thought about it, and then decided against doing anything at that point in time. So I'm not sure what his options entirely were. So Frank's going to keep extending to the board here.
That costs 1 more.
That Jite is not legal, but what he can do is play one of his other threats. Let's see, he's got Stoneforge. Okay. Stoneforge declining to search.
Wow, Stoneforge declining to search.
Oh, he's got Batterskull in his hand as well. Okay, so is he just playing Jite and Batterskull, I guess?
Yeah, maybe no Sword of Fire and Ice. I think that's the usual suspect for the piece of equipment.
I don't think the sword's in his hand already, so he might not. But might have forgotten to search for it. Main phase activates Stoneforge, put into play Jite.
Yeah, I was going to comment on that. What do you think that's about?
Oh, he's really worried about the Stifle.
Yeah, that uncastable Stifle. Well, I guess, that is a real concern. I wonder
like the only way that goes wrong is that Ryan untaps, plays the second land, and then has Stifle available.
Yeah, but just think about that 2-mana Stifle. That's like a full-time walk. So
exactly. I think I'm perfectly okay with that.
That's a clutch Lightning Bolt. I guess we really were just waiting for that the second land.
And so that's another thing actually I want to mention is that he chose to put into play the Jite instead of putting into play the Batterskull. Which in this situation where Ryan stuck on, it was just volcanic at that point in time, he would have not had a good way to actually deal with the Batterskull.
And now that tree name is going to be a huge problem for Frank.
Right. Especially if, as we've kind of seen, he doesn't have Fire and Ice in his deck to get through it.
And we also have to understand, so the turn that Frank put the Jite into play, he also had the option to, cast this Aether Vial. I'm wondering which option would have been better.
He had the Aether Vial.
So he gets a lot of options that turn.
He had that as early as his Stoneforge Mystic turn.
Really?
Yeah, that was the
Wow.
card he drew that turn that he cast his Stoneforge Mystic.
Okay. It's interesting because if that was really the card he drew when he cast his own Fortress Mystic, that vial would have been at least, you know, what, at least on 2? And he'd be able to just, you know, put in a lot more pressure on the board, and potentially the True Name Nemesis that we see right now may have just been a non-issue.
So would you, at that point of the game, have chosen to take the long view and try to tick up your vial, or do you think that you're keeping your opponent under control and just try to put pressure on the board immediately?
So for me, I'm putting into play the Batterskull, and this is exactly why. Frank's been jammed up on Anna right now, and he's never going to have another chance to re-equip that Jitte, profitably, at least. So he's just always going to be a turn behind here as far as his mana is concerned. Whereas at least with the Batterskull in play, he makes it awkward for Ryan to actually attack with his True Name. He makes it awkward for Ryan to sit back and actually try and control his board.
Yeah, I don't know. I would probably prefer to maybe play the Aether Vial. I mean, I'm not really sure how many lands Frank had in his hand, but like you have to just look at the like a graph, or imagine like, you know, like the turn by, you know, how much mana you get ratio or whatever. And I think if he had played the Aether Vial on that second turn, he would have probably had maybe 2 Druids or a 3rd Druid or something like that. And that's a lot of damage. That's a lot for, you know, True Name plus Jit to deal with.
So you're saying the second turn? Is that instead of playing with Thalia?
Mm-hmm. Because then, like, you see that, you know, Ryan's a little bit, you know, screwed up. Well, okay, no, the Stoneforge turn was the turn after the Thalia turn.
Right, that was turn 3.
Yeah, so he could have wasted him off the Tundra and then played the Aether Vial. And then Aether Vial would have ticked up. I don't know if he had the Mother of Runes in his hand. But then he could have potentially put that into play and then the Stoneforge into play.
Yeah, we're not quite playing with perfect information here, but I do think that's probably a more reasonable line. As far as what he has to do now, I know he's got Sarah Avenger, Stoneforge, and some other stuff in his hand, and he's just getting a little gummed up. He finally has the Aether Vial on a reasonable number at 2, so he's going to get a chance here eventually to actually start playing multiple things per turn, keep up with the pace with that Jitte.
But yeah, I think one of the reasons that Death and Taxes actually started playing Sword of Fire and Ice, you know, a long time ago was just for this specific card, True Name Nemesis. I mean, it just made, you know, combat and math and all that sort of stuff just frustrating because, you know, it just sort of like threw it out all the window. Doesn't matter how good you are at, you know, predicting what your opponent might have. Doesn't matter how good you are at seeing 3 steps into the future. You know, True Name just doesn't care.
Yeah, that's kind of the reason I stopped playing Maverick Ashes of Deck. Was that there were a lot of board states that you get into where you thought you had it all in control, but True Name would stonewall you for like 4 turns. So if you didn't have the Fire Ice going, or didn't have a Lady of Trample or Fly, you were kind of screwed.
And that hard cast Days was actually interesting. Does Ryan need the mana for something? Like, my understanding is that if he, you know, by not bouncing the land, that means you have something that you want to cast with it in play. Or not that you want to cast, like, with that 4th land in play, but that you want to have 5 lands in play the next turn, which makes me feel that Ryan has a Forcible in his hand that he wants to hard cast. And he was, like, yeah, that makes sense to me. Okay, so he, like, not bouncing the land means you want to have an additional land at your next turn. And the only card that would, you know, require that, you know, considering that the Stoneforge is in play, is Forcible, because you could just vial in the Batterskull if you had it. And him casting the Brainstorm that turn probably means that he didn't actually have the 5th land, and that he, you know, was digging for it off the Brainstorm. I don't know, how does that logic sound? Does it make sense?
No, that definitely sounds correct. If you want to untap and have 5 mana in play, that seems reasonable. The thing to note here is that the Vial is in play, so he's going to have a little bit of trouble actually using his Force of Will for that. But Frank probably does not have a good way to actually answer this Jitte true name combination that Ryan's kind of trying to begin with.
It's certainly, I mean, True Name is certainly one of the silver bullet cards that Death and Taxes has a very difficult time answering.
Yeah, especially pre-board.
So actually, now that I think about it, I feel like True Name Nemesis by itself might not be powerful enough. But I think, like, you know, the Kiss of Death is when you suit it up with, you know, something like Batterskull or Umazawa Suke.
Sure. I mean, it's important to know that it also blocks well.
That's true. Yeah.
So Frank's Jitte here would never be able to get more counters if the True Name was unfixed.
Activate.
Yeah, and you know, we'll address the chat here. You know, just council judgment, Shardless, Catechism. Ground a little excessive. Most of those are, I would consider to be sideboard cards and taxes at best.
I'm not sure if Council Judgment is the main deck card.
I wouldn't consider it to be in Death and Taxes.
Okay, so we have another Flicker here.
Right, so he's either going to target the Germ or he's going to target the Jitte to get the count off of it.
Sure.
Oh, he targeted the Batterskull.
That's interesting. Do you know why he did that?
Combat.
Because he wants there to be 2 different instances of a Germ and he wants to have that Morbiture? I don't know. he really wanted that Morbiture, I think.
And what also is interesting is that, you know, Frank didn't really use his mana. Okay, that's why, because he wants to put his Batterskull on the play, which is so obvious. Okay. To prevent True Name Nemesis from getting Vigilance, okay. Wait, is that actually the... Okay, yeah, that makes sense, yeah, because, I mean, at that point, I think it would just be unbeatable, right? Though I wonder how much it matters, because Frank's staring lethal on board right now.
It looks pretty unbeatable at the moment.
Right, I mean, I don't particularly see a good way for Frank to win this one. He's going to lose the damage rates, even with all the Jitte counters that these guys have been accumulating. The issue now is if Ryan wants to, he can just equip Batterskull into his True Name Nemesis, have it on offense, have it on defense, and proceed to also gain about 7 to 9 life per turn.
Well, yeah, Frank's only at 7 anyway, so one swing would be enough to finish the game, unless, you know, Frank, like, has a Swords to Plowshares or does something.
Well, Frank's at a quasi 17 off of his Jitte.
Okay, that's true. That's correct.
So, the Batterskull plus the True Name is 7, plus another 8 on Jitte is only 13 damage. Wow, that's not right. It's 15 damage. Can't do that. So it's still just too short.
Is just the Stoneforge Mystic attacking? Or is the germ token attacking as well? Okay.
Team Dream Crush, yeah. If Frank had been able to search for a Sword of Fire and Ice on turn 3, when he played the Stoneforge Mystic, I really just feel like this game would be over and in Frank's favor.
It would certainly be a very different game.
And so I'm still curious to know if he actually has a sword in his hand deck. Because he did have the Jitte and the Batterskull in his hand, but he neglected to search for the Stoneforge.
Yeah, but I mean, like...
So I'm just curious if he forgot to search or if it was...
yeah.
It's not actually in his deck.
I will pull one off again.
Right, so let's Burning Wish for Council's Judgment. That should wrap this one up nicely.
He could, he could vial in Magus of the Moon right now, and then play that spicy tech. That'd be beautiful.
There's the White Wish. Golden Wish? Why is that one so bad?
I really don't know. I actually had a dream once where, that wish cost like 1 mana, and I was ecstatic.
That's a pretty good dream, huh?
Oh yeah. Search for counterbalance, cast it. Yeah.
It's like an extremely powerful Enlightened Tutor.
Yeah.
Then you'd have to play, only 3 counterbalances in the deck.
Oh, that's a good point. I don't know if I could do that.
That's the suffering, only having 7 counterbalances in the deck.
But just think, that other counterbalance could be like a top, it could be Rest in Peace, it could be like anything you Enlighten Tutor for, it's so good.
I'll give this -1.
Gyarados, God of Storms.
You can even get Rest in Peace and Helm. Like, just think about the possibilities if the mana costs were payable.
That is incredible.
Whoa. I think 5 is still good enough. Don't you want to play that?
Maybe in like a Soul Land deck. We'll run Remote Farm. That's the Depletion Land. I think.
Yucky's easy. That's a really good point. I do think leaving out port to prevent the equipment may have been like one of the first steps to getting back in the game, but.
I think that without an actual answer to the Trinity Nemesis, I don't think he has a good footing in that game anyways.
Yeah, I suppose, but I mean, like, you gotta play to your outs at that point, and your outs there would involve A, not having the Trinity get equipped, and B, like, hoping that Ryan just misplays catastrophically and, like, I don't know.
Or has a stroke, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I beat my 112 post opponent online once. I think he literally just said, "I have to go. I have a massive headache." Something along those lines. But I was ecstatic because that was like the first time I ever beat 12 post.
Wait, you beat 12 post? I want to hear the story. How did this happen?
Oh, it was like turn 1 top, game 1, turn 2 counterbalance, and he conceded. And then we sideboarded.
He conceded?
And it was turn 1 top into turn 3 mentor, and then he just conceded. He's like, I'm not feeling well. And I was like, wait a minute, did I just win against 12 post? Obviously, I hope my opponent is still alive and like healthy and well, but I beat 12 post. Like, wow. That's a story for my grandchildren.
So there were a couple times where I played Reanimator where more than once. I distinctly remember the first time. I go turn 1, Thought Seize myself, and my opponent's like, okay, it resolves, and I show them my hand, and then they conceded. I have no idea how to sideboard.
I was playing against that Oops All Spells or whatever it is deck.
Yeah.
And so game 1 he mulls to I believe it was 3, and then just says, let's go to game 2.
I'm stunned that that deck doesn't have a different name yet. Like, that's such a goofy name.
So there actually is a. I used to hate the name.
Oh no, Kory, don't start.
I used to hate it, but there actually is a rationale for it because it's the name of a cereal.
There's a cereal called Oops All Spells.
No, it's called Oops All Berries. It's the Captain Crunch variation that has only cereal.
Now we just need to make a cereal called Oops All Spells.
Right?
Now we just have to make a cereal called Tintin. Although that name's excellent enough.
We have random little bits of metal in every bowl. YOLO Crunch.
And the back of the cereal box should just be a giant picture of Doomsday, like.
Or Grizzlebrand.
Oh yeah. So the band, the BNR announcement is next Monday.
Oh, is that when I need to move my counterbalances by?
Wow. So what is everyone's prediction? I predict no changes. I'll just chime in with that.
Counterbalance or Terminus above 50%.
I disagree with you. I don't think Counterbalance top Terminus anything is going to get hit, and that's not because I'm psychotic. I was talking to a bunch of people, and like, it just doesn't feel like the deck has been impactful enough. Like, I think it's definitely strong, and people, do not like playing against it or losing to it, but those aren't really reasons to, ban Sensei's Divining Top, especially when a bunch of other decks use that card. And Counterbalance by itself really isn't oppressive because, Abrupt Decay was printed in like 2012.
That's why I think if they banned anything, it would be Terminus.
Okay, that's interesting.
JD was the first person to talk to me about this logic, and it makes a lot of sense because they're nerfing the deck. It's still viable, but they're just taking away its like absolute greatest form of removal.
Do you think either Miracles or Terminus is oppressive to the format? I wouldn't characterize.
I definitely think it's oppressive.
That statement to be true.
I don't think it's oppressive in the sense that it's too strong. It's just that it makes tournaments go way too long.
Is that a reason to ban?
Yes.
I mean, that's ostensibly the reason why Top is banned in Modern. But if it wasn't banned in Legacy previously for the same reasons, then I don't see why it would be now.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think you can ban. I don't think you have to ban Top, but Miracles is very, very strong.
Okay, well, we'll see whose predictions play out. I'm not familiar with the other formats, but for Legacy, I don't think there would be changes.
So this is really interesting. We see again Frank starts off with the turn 2 Thalia.
Yeah. Okay.
I just want survival back.
For hashtag free mind twist. There's a really good argument for why that card should be legal.
Would you have...
Anyways, his hand... go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to point out something that didn't really matter. I was going to ask about the landscape.
Okay, so...
Actually make a difference.
So what we see here, though, is a Wingmare swords and 3 lands. I believe one of them was a Wasteland, if I recall correctly, but... Well, okay. So he's going to go for the Wingmare lock here. We're just
Wingmare Thalia.
having 2 tax effects is more important than playing Wastelands.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Wingmare and Wasteland are basically comparable, except for this specific situation, actually.
Right, like, this is the only real creature in Mines that actually makes a difference.
Right, but I mean, post-board, I imagine that there are answers. The biggest issue is that Frank can't actually cast these answers because his own cards are shutting him down.
Well, so again, what's his answer? Probably maybe a Singleton Council's Judgment or something?
Yeah, that's what I imagine it is. I mean, the odds are slim, but I feel like, you still take what you can get.
If Frank manages to keep Ryan off his lands, that Mother of Runes is actually just as good of an answer if he's on the offensive plan.
Right.
So you see Ryan getting in with the true name.
I mean, right now, Ryan is definitely losing this race. And oh my god, he missed a land drop. So I actually think this game could be over.
And Frank drew a Council Judgment.
Wow.
That's a very fast clock he's got. I don't think he can cast Council's Judgment right now.
He can't. Now, here's a question. Do you think, and this is going to sound really strange, do Do you think Frank was supposed to attack with the Mother of Planes, or not? Sorry, not do you think, but is there an argument for attacking with the Mother of Planes? Because that's just like a really narrow play. Frank, Ryan bottlenecked on mana.
I don't
So
think
it
you
only
really...
matters.
Sorry, go ahead.
So it only matters if there's a Bolter of Swords and Ryan finds his third land. So it's a matter of default odds. With Ryan at 10 life, I think you can afford not to attack with the Mother, because now if you decide that it's relevant, you can still do 5 and 5 and kill him.
Okay,
Right, it
well,
doesn't speed up your clock, and it risks your not only damage creatures, but like your utility creatures that are taxing Ryan out of the game. So I don't think there's an argument to be made for swinging in with the Mom.
Okay. I think it actually does speed up the clock by a turn, but I think the downsides are just way too much. Yeah, those are good points. I think another thing to factor into consideration is that if Ryan had the Bolt, he would have probably used it on the Thalia instead of casting the Probe, because that way he could cast both spells in one turn. But
Sure,
I mean,
so we only had one draw symbol that actually mattered to find it? Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that. So interestingly, now Frank sides with Mom. Which again, is that's going to be 5 damage. Is leaving the next
Diana, you were right. It did not speed up the clock. I totally forgot that he didn't need to attack for that extra 1 point of damage.
A good old 3 mana turn 5 Aetherlock.
Just the way Wizards had it in mind. Good old Garfield foresight. This Bryn Windmere is just doing wonders, though. I love it. Oh, but a second True Name Nemesis. How does this change combat math? Like,
Gosh, don't ask me. I look at creatures on the battlefield and my eyes just cross.
I think Frank is still ahead, right? You give your Thalia Pro Blue, and then you just swing.
There's that beautiful 5-mana Council's Judgment, letting him get in with the full team this turn.
Okay.
So I guess we must have had the right, I guess we must have had the life totals wrong, because Ryan drops to 1 on the attack.
No, that was correct. He attacks with the Mother of Brandan.
Right, that put him to 5 last turn? Wasn't that correct?
He was at 6. I had Ryan at 10 when he was at 11.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Oh, gotcha. That's what I thought. Okay.
Alright, so never mind. Maybe that 1 point the turn before did make a little bit of... Could have made a difference. I don't know, whatever. I think the counterpoints just definitely outweigh whatever argument there was. So what do we notice from this game that Frank did differently that allowed him to come out ahead?
Sure, so Frank really constricted Ryan's mana base very, very quickly, only allowing Ryan to play the spells he had mana for and not waste time cantripping.
Okay. That's actually really good. I think we didn't really see that game 1, right? I don't remember seeing too many port activations. I don't remember seeing Thalia, survive that long.
Sure, he spent more time with the Stoneforge Mystic.
Right.
Which in turn wasted a turn putting into play Jitte, which in turn wasted a turn equipping Jitte, which got dealt with, which wasted another turn equipping Jitte.
Yeah.
And so, in a sense, he wasted at least 3 or 4 turns just using his mana without actually progressing his board in a significant manner. Which gave Ryan the chance to dig through his deck a little bit to find what he wanted and to create his board position of Jitte plus True Name.
Okay, and here's a really interesting question that I actually didn't get to think of. In this matchup, who do you think is the beatdown?
Well,
Question.
I think it really depends on this turn 1 Delver.
Oh wow, yeah, that is true. Like my initial gut reaction is, that Patriot Delver is the beatdown, but the more I think about it, doesn't Ryan have inevitability with True Name Nemesis, equipment, and just infinite removal spells?
Right, and I think that's where the turn 1 Delver actually comes into play.
Gotcha.
Without the turn 1 Delver, he has to respect Frank's threats. Whereas
Hello,
with the
guys.
turn 1 Delver, this would attack more rapidly.
Is that a wild Neeraj?
A wild Neeraj appeared.
Nice.
So actually, in this matchup, Death and Taxes is definitely the beatdown because the clock of True Name can't be stopped.
So they have to go under. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, they have to go above, actually, because some of your best cards in Death and Taxes are your flyers. Either that or you get a Mom, but it takes 2 counters to get rid of off a Jitte to get rid of a Sarah Avenger. So with 1 connect, you can't take it out of the sky. And pretty much your goal is to try to keep them off of True Name in the early game, but once that clock comes down, if they're piloting it correctly, they should just put that clock on because you have no ways of stopping it.
Well, Sarah Avenger is one of those interesting cards that really represents the beatdown side of Death and Taxes because it doesn't play into their other strategy of overall controlling the board. It just literally hits for damage. So, you know, when you mention a card like that, that has only one linear purpose.
Right, so in this case, though, we see Ryan with 2 Delvers in play, and he's got a Brainstorm that has likely set those up to flip. And so Frank's unresponsive.
He fetched up Scalding.
Yeah, he
You're right,
fetched
I'm
after
sorry.
Brainstorming.
All right, knock on wood 1 time. Oh no, we're going for the guarantee. And I think that's correct, actually. I'd probably do the same here.
I think with 2 Delvers, that's quite a lot on the line.
Right.
If Frank is content to wasteland him there, I think you really need to flip those Delvers and start attacking. Because that, to me, shows that Frank doesn't really have a good plan of action right now. Besides to hope that Ryan doesn't extend his hand any further.
Can we note that every Delver we've seen today has been flipped and then reinserted fully back into its sleeve? And every Delver player has done this.
What does that say about the Delver player?
Very assertive.
As if they know that it's going to stay that way for a long time?
You're right, absolutely.
Okay, so this is where it gets tricky. I mean, judging from the current board state, it obviously appears that Ryan is ahead. But, you know, Frank could have a lot of cunning tricks up his sleeve.
Sure, so that all starts with like Resilience versus Plowshares, and then maybe having like a Flicker Wisp or something to deal with the Delvers.
It's kind of awkward to get a Flicker Wisp out now because he doesn't have the lands to do it, and the Vial, he hasn't developed his board sufficiently to move it past 2 to 3.
Now that actually makes sense as well. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense actually.
Then again, there's also the argument that, you know, getting a Flicker Wisp into play is just that powerful, right? Because you get to trade with one of the Delvers and you get to slow down the other Delver. Then you're pretty much like time walking your opponent in terms of, you know, damage, right?
So here we go with main phase activation of Vial, putting in place Stone Fortune Stick. To me, this basically has to be a Jitte that he wants to cast. Yeah. Because otherwise there's no sense at play.
Now, I still don't agree with this main phase Stoneforge. Last time when he activated Stoneforge in main, it looked questionable. This play looks a little questionable as well. He knows that Ryan has Swords to Plowshares. So why is getting the Jitte to resolve so important if he can't even end step put a creature in?
I did not realize he knew about the swords.
The swords was revealed to flip out Delvers.
Yeah, must have missed that one.
I love that. Wasting the wasteland.
The only better play there would have been to cast Trinity.
That's the first step, drawing the Swords to Plowshares. It could be the case that Ryan is also just saving all his counter magic for Swords to Plowshares and just go the full tempo route during this game. I mean, Double Delver Secrets is just so fantastic.
Right, and Neeraj is right. Frank needlessly exposed himself to a lot of risk that past turn. Without any profit.
So here it looks like Frank could be representing a Flicker Wisp, which would actually be a great turn for him, because in the upkeep he can tap Ryan's Tundra, keep him off of Swords to Plowshares, and then when Ryan goes to combat he can Flicker Wisp one of the Delvers and block the other. But that is not what happened, so this game looks pretty much over.
Well, I mean, he's still getting.
He still could Flicker Wisp, but now.
Does he have the Flicker Wisp, or is he just setting up for one?
He really needs a Flicker Wisp here. Okay, so this looks okay. Oh, it's a brain. That still does something. Okay.
Well, now, Frank was able to get the board click because he had the Swords to Plowshares, but True Name Nemesis just does not care. I mean, Frank still has the ability to potentially race using the GTA for Life game, but it seems like taking up the vial to 3 means he doesn't have another. I don't know if he has another 3-mana creature in his hand.
So some of the only outs to True Name that Death and Taxes have access to in terms of actually removing it are Council's Judgment, and I used to play actually Celestial Flare, because a lot of times, like you could see in Game 1, he kind of just suits up his True Name Nemesis and has no protection against Celestial Flare besides counter.
We did have someone in the chat mention Wing Shards.
I'm not familiar with that card.
I think it's one white. Yeah, one white. Something about destroying an attacking creature, and it's got
sacrifice,
Storm.
and it has Storm. So it's Celestial Flare, except 1 mana more and with Storm.
Okay. Another card I was interested in trying out, but I never actually put it in my sideboard, is Holy Light, which says it's a sorcery, I believe, and it says all non-white creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn.
That card is from the dark.
Mentioned that in the chat. Actually, we had a whole roster of white answers to True Name Nemesis.
Should have never.
Otherwise, actually, an instant to make it even better.
That's way more fun.
I believe Holy Light's a sorcery.
Once you play the Brainstorm, there's no going back.
It's actually an instant. I've been Holy Lighted as elves. It's not a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, and we see just how powerful True Name Nemesis is in this kind of matchup. That is totally creature-based, with Brian taking the win.
I'm just spiking the board. I don't know if it's actually good.
I did see that. I thought that was really ballsy bringing that in this matchup.
I just have I have some really bad cards. Like on the
I mean,
draw,
that's
Daze
still
is absolutely
really bad.
I don't know. I think Daze is does absolutely nothing on the draw. I feel like, especially if they have Vial.
Daze really sucks. Yeah.
And Spell Pierce on the draw almost does nothing.
So there it looks like he does have a Council's Judgment, Spirit, and I don't know what the bottom card is.
I think it's another Council's Judgment.
Okay.
Other blue decks. So. I don't think these are very good.
Artifact removal's also okay in this matchup because True Name alone is not the problem. You could also bring in a Pithy Needle.
I think I would rather have that over the Jays personally.
Yeah, those are really good points. Yep.
Have whatever the Jays.
The sword.
sort of.
And Revoker's still good because Revoker can turn off their equipment and hopefully keep yours alive. I'm not sure if Frank's playing Sword of Fire and Ice, but that's one of the ways that you can attack through True Name Nemesis if you don't have flyers.
Right, in game one, actually, Frank cast a Stoneforge Mystic and declined his
golden plan is True Name.
And that led us all to believe that he doesn't have Sword of Fire and Ice deck.
Yeah, that's what I saw too.
It's just if he it gives you other outs to like Revoker and stuff like that.
How was your falafel?
It was excellent.
Jason's just really top heavy, really tough to
It's
resolve.
snowing real hard for a little bit. It was
Yeah, I heard everyone talking about snow, but it didn't look like we got any here.
I mean, it's still half before, so
I was just walking over, and it was snowing really hard for a little while.
Yeah, they really suck.
I'm in Northern Virginia, and we're actually in the 40s today, so hopefully we have an extra couple of hours before the snow hits us.
Oh yeah, Neeraj, how bad is it snowing?
It was coming down with pretty big flakes and pretty strong breeze, but when I was walking back from the Lebanese cafe, it wasn't snowing anymore. But it was still windy and chilly.
If it snowed here, Kory, I did not notice, and there's no snow on the ground.
I just traded in like my entire Japanese deck, so you might let you work something out to like get some stuff you were saying. And he's got good pricing in general.
Hey Kory, do we have a backup match?
Not at the moment. This is a link to where we stream it if you want to go back and rewatch your game. I mean, if it helps you like get an idea of like what's going on.
Sometimes it's good to go back and watch, like see maybe where you messed up. I messed up game 2 pretty bad.
Tell him we talked about how beautiful he was.
So actually, what do you guys think about, like, you know, when you look at Shades of Delver, what is your opinion of Patriot Delver with respect to Nexus, Bug, and Rug Delver?
It's certainly very rare these days. Hardly ever see it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like 2 years ago when Owen Wall won the GP with Blue White Red Delver, you know, that's when the deck was probably the most popular.
It was the first tournament where True Name was legal. And this deck really uses True Name probably better than any other deck. I would say Merfolk does better just because they play 8 True Names, but...
Yeah, twitch.tv/Snapcasters. There's a link to the YouTube page, so it'll be archived. So if you want to go back and watch it, you can see it with commentary.
Yeah, I heard that this was the Delver deck designed to beat other Delver decks.
That is
since they play so many removal spells,
he can tell you all about
like 4 sorts of plowshares.
Well, I mean, so like there's a lot of good advice on it if you want to.
And I think in a meta where you're really just
really
a bunch
good,
of
they can definitely help you out.
People that on Delver, this wouldn't be a bad pick. With respect to the general meta that we see right now, with lots and lots and lots of miracles, we see lands and Shardless, a lot of Storm too. How do you think Patriot Delver performs, or actually in general, how do you think all the Delver decks perform?
I don't know if that's the reason.
I don't really understand that question. Is that, or are you just asking in general?
Yeah, just like in comparison to one another.
Are all really different animals to me.
So I always think of Route Delver as the most polished of the Delver decks because it has a very consistent game plan that hasn't changed throughout the lifespan of that deck, really.
Okay.
Sometimes a few cards change, but
they're really good.
It's really been the same animal throughout. Whereas the other Delvers have varied wildly depending on what cards were powerful at the time.
Hey guys, I'm gonna go. Time's about up. I'm gonna get ready to get us the next our next feature match. So I'll be right back, you guys.
Well, thanks so much, Kory. Appreciate it. So to chime in on that, I'm always afraid as an elves to play against Blue Red Delver because they have 8 1-mana removal spells. as far as whether that's actually good right now, I'm not sure it is. I think Abrupt Decay is actually a very relevant card for most Delver decks to have. And so maybe it's a matter of preference, but I don't know if I would personally be very pleased to play the 4 Lightning Bolt 4 Swords deck right now.
Oh, so are we talking about the worst matchup against our main deck? So I obviously play Storm, and I think Bug is the worst for us because not only do they have pressure, they also have permission, and in the board they have disruptive permanence. So it's just kind of like the triple threat package that the other Delver decks don't have as much. Sure, Blue-Eye Red Delver has Meddling Mage maybe out of the board, but they also aren't as fast, and they also don't have hand disruption. So they don't attack combo decks from all angles, kind of like Delver does.
Yeah, him to Torok is actually ridiculous against combo decks, especially Storm. Like, I think after the second him to Torok, the game is probably over.
They just have pressure from every angle. They have pressure on the board, against your hand, and against you on the stack as well. So it's hard to get your foot in the door.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, playing Miracles, I don't want to see Grixis Delver. I think the combination of Young Pyromancer and Cabal Therapy and Stifle Counter Magic Suite is just overwhelmingly powerful. Especially since Stifle is really good against, Terminus and Treat the Angels and all that jazz.
I think for Death and Taxes, the Patriot Delver matchup is the worst out of the other Delver matchups because classically, Death and Taxes has been thought of as one of the decks to beat Delver matchups, but True Name Nemesis really put this deck ahead in the Death and Taxes Patriot Delver matchup.
Well, and again, I think there's something you said about those 8 removal spells that can deal with the Mother on turn 1 and can be played through Athalia. Giving them a little bit more of an edge as far as
that definitely helps as well.
Countering the Mana Violent plan.
All right, guys, I got a spicy one for us next round that may or may not be biased. You guys will have to wait and see.
Uh-oh, indeed.
My guess is Aggro Loam versus
Oh no, Kory.
Storm.
Oh man, that is a very, very interesting matchup. I don't know if you guys saw the finals.
I don't know where Mauler is.
SCG New Jersey, but that was Aggro Loam piloted by Tom Keating against, I think it was Caleb, sure, on Storm, right?
Mauler.
Yep.
That was amazing to watch.
Storm vs. Loam is unfortunately the characteristic matchup of our household.
I realize my formula for success is just get
I was under the concept, the idea that
Are you
go to that
Storm just totally wiped the floor with Aggro.
So it looks
Loam.
like we have
But
Jeremy,
I also interest a little bit.
and I'm guessing he's on a Delver deck.
Drawn well.
How do you spell your last name?
HSU.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be right back, guys.
Sorry, I'm that guy. Well,
Not sure.
But yeah,
I
I was
that's not true. Sorry,
really
Supplies,
surprised
I'm
that Aggro Loam actually had a chance and actually won. Like the turn 0.
Okay, so
Chalice
he's
on the vocal.
typing in that Steve is on Shardless Bug, and Jeremy is on, I guess something spicy. Wait for it. That is a great deck. Wait for it.
Is it Bear Stomping?
Almost ready.
Red deck wins. Dragon Storm?
Aggro Loam.
Okay, alright.
Oh yeah, now I remember. Because Jeremy had messaged on Facebook earlier that he left his bag at home, so he didn't have a deck. And so this is actually Kory.
Kory's deck is actually very beautiful too. I don't know if you guys have gotten a chance to see it before, but a lot of the deck is foiled out. And it's just amazing to look at. So what do you guys think?
This should be a pretty bad matchup for Shardless Bug. They have, sometimes a couple basics, maybe a swamp, maybe a forest, and they have Deathrite Shaman. But
yeah, otherwise
it
they just
depends on
don't
who's to
react
play.
very
So
much.
I just did not pay attention to the die roll, but a Chalice on one could be very devastating as well. For a couple of turns, of course, Shardless Bug has access to Abrupt Decay. So there is a possible Chalice on one. We'll see what Steve decides to take.
Yeah, so that's punishing
It could
fire.
be. It could just be Mox Diamond is the correct pick.
Never be
there.
able to turn one chalice. The first time tonight it was gonna
Because
happen.
he could let
was it? I was about to say, that's like all my hands.
Nowhere close.
Even, but the Mox
First
lets
time
Jeremy get ahead on lands and perhaps cast a turn 2 Knight if he is able to top deck that.
So he takes the ooze, so maybe he already has an answer for the chalice in his hand.
Yeah, Abrupt Decay just seems like such an easy answer. It's not something he's really worried about. Loam here would be nice.
If I'm seeing this correctly, looks like Steve's hand is Verdant, Goif, Goif, Brainstorm, and another Verdant, I believe. Can't quite tell. Am I hearing reports of snow in the background?
I think actually Steve has a Shardless Agent in his hand too.
Okay, that would make more sense. Goif, Goif, Brainstorm, Shardless, Verdant? Okay.
Jeremy's still deciding whether he wants to cast the Chalice on one.
Yeah, I guess the debate here is whether or not he thinks Steve is trying to mind game him here and trick him into something else. But I don't think he has a whole lot of options in this situation, besides just to run it out there and hope it sticks.
And here, a Goif can just present a clock immediately, which is great. And then next turn, if he can untap and Abrupt Decay the Chalice, he's hitting for a lot.
Right, so the 3/4 Goif is gonna present quite a problem here, especially when it has two of them in play.
Yeah, and it goes up to 5 power if he does have Abrupt Decay in hand. So either another Goif here or Abrupt Decay is probably a great play. He did just draw him, but I'm not sure him accomplishes much here. Looks like he's fetching, so he could be going.
That is
for
a
the
Dryad Arbor.
Shardless.
He might be going for Shardless Agent right now. Just swarm the board and not give Jeremy a chance to...
Yeah, because Shardless Agent and Abrupt Decay, he probably didn't have Abrupt Decay in hand.
Yeah, so best case scenario is oh that works too actually. But he has quite a few good hits on that Shardless.
That's great because he has a third Tarmogoyf in hand, and Jeremy really doesn't have a good way of slowing down this.
This is where we see if Kory put a name board Maelstrom Pulse in this deck.
He probably doesn't have any main deck answers to this board state.
Well, I think Aggro typically plays 4 Abrupt Decays.
Yeah, but it just seems like he's too far behind because Steve's going to deploy another Goif here. Now he probably wants to, if Steve does play another Goyf, he probably wants to Punishing Fire the Shardless Agent so that way a top deck Liliana could get one of them off.
Right, and we got to remember that he still has the Dryad Arbor to block, and that could...
Okay, he decides not to cast his Goyf. Maybe he's scared of main deck Maelstrom Pulse. Obviously, Jeremy having very good card selection with the Sylvan Library. Or it's possible you could have a Toxic Deluge main deck in Aggro as well.
Yeah. Something interesting that should also be noted is that I don't think there's an instant in the graveyard yet, which is one reason why Jeremy may have not cast the Punishment Fire. But another thing that should be relevant is that Steve could always just, cast his Brainstorm to get it countered and just to put power on the board.
Well, here, like I said, if he had Punishing Fire at end of turn, and this Liliana does resolve, he's getting a bigger threat off the board. Now he's only putting he's growing the Goyfs and not even taking one off the board.
Right.
It doesn't look great.
Sure, and because he didn't Punishing Fire here,
that is a good card. That looks like a maze.
Yeah, so now he does have actually a Dryad Arbor to block one of the Goyfs and a maze together.
Is that the right number for Goyf?
There is an Abrupt Decay. That is the right number for Goyf. There's instant, artifact, creature, sorcery, land. Shardless Agent being an artifact and a creature.
So in the Turok dumps the Punishing Fire and the Verdant.
Which basically accomplishes nothing.
Right, because the Sylvan Library in play is going to help mitigate any kind of potential draw issues.
So here...
So Jeremy's really looking for another way to keep this Liliana alive. And I don't think he found it.
Yeah, I mean, drawing a life from the Loam would be pretty sweet here. You get to reset the top of your deck for Sylvan Library, you get to get back a chump blocker. You also get to develop your mana so that you can cast bigger threats, potentially getting into a Knight of the Reliquary.
Yeah, shoutouts to Bob Wong in chat.
Oh wow, it was a decay. I didn't read that correctly. So this is going very well for Jeremy right now. Even if he loses Liliana as he just did, he still has a respectable board state in play. He needs to find another answer to this second Goyf, but it looks like he just found a second Liliana.
Need the other one.
And there it is.
And this is the slow grind that Aggro Loam is just so good at. But wait, there's more. Steve draws Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Let's draw Haymakers. Woohoo!
And I really like this play. There's an argument to just brainstorm away, but with Liliana on the table, the amount of cards that you're getting is just slightly diminished. Jace taking up is an actual win condition that might be able to race what is slowly becoming a worse board state for Steve, right?
Right, so this board state's not really good for Steve to be attacking. And as we've seen, he's already gone through 3 Goyfs. 4 Goyfs in this one.
Do you think Steve should have Abrupt Decayed the Sylvan Library?
I don't know if he had a good way to get actually out from underneath the Lord in time, so that situation.
Is that a Jace Vryn's Prodigy?
I hope so.
Definitely appears to be, which
that's just gonna die to Punishing Fire.
Well,
I think he was just about to cast it. I mean, there's not much else he can do.
I mean, it's not. It's also not even that
great. This board state is really stabilized now for Jeremy.
Are these life points correct? 14?
Sorry, 4 to 18.
Okay.
4 to 18.
Okay.
Jeremy wanted to gain 10 life. Yeah. End step, kill your Jace. And here, Jeremy can still afford to tick up and keep his Liliana around because that maze is doing some great work. Now,
Right.
if
As long as,
Steve can brainstorm into a wasteland, that would be pretty devastating. He does decide to be a little greedy and take up his Liliana instead of taking care of the Goyf permanently. And now we'll get a fresh 4 cards for Steve to look at to find an answer to this board state.
maybe more if he's playing Predict. Looks like Goyf Strix Force.
Strix not accomplishing much again because of the Punishing Fire. He really needed an Abrupt Decay for either the Liliana or the Sylvan Librarian. Going back to that first Abrupt Decay, Anuraag, what did he target with his first Abrupt Decay?
There was another Liliana.
Okay. Yeah, it might have been right to target the Sylvan Library here, like you had questioned.
Yeah, I mean, just like it's not only given Jeremy like ridiculous amounts of vision, it's also just, I mean, given him all the means to get back in the game, right? Like,
there's another wasteland. Jeremy kind of needs to slog through a bunch of cards here, but as long as that Jace is not threatening anything, he has no reason to Punishing Fire the Jace, and if it comes down to that, he can keep him off of ultimating Jace by using his Punishing Fire. Once again, though, Wasteland is really what Steve is looking for here.
The land that's really hard to see on Steve's side of the board is a basic forest.
And usually Shardless Bug only has maybe 1 or 2 copies of Wasteland. I have seen builds on Moto that run 4, but they're few and far between.
yeah, I mean, Shardless Bug is generally, I mean, instead of, I think it's either 4 Wastelands or some mixture of, you know, like tar pits and Wastelands, and maybe some builds also run basics.
And here you see, as the board state has not progressed for Steve, he's pretty far behind now. As Jeremy starts ticking down on his Jace with his Punishing Fire and finds another Liliana.
Sure, so Steve's hand is double force land, I believe. Well, no, he played the lands. It's double force.
And that is fine. We're still on even board states. Each player digging, looking for a way to break through. It does seem like the Liliana is winning on this board state, which is not always true, and usually isn't. Usually Jace is beating Lily, but that is contained by the Punishing Fire, so Lily on this board is the most powerful permanent. And the fact that Sylvan Library is combined with Liliana is acting like a blue Liliana or something.
You're going to do that brainstorm first. You should just have more cards in the back.
Yeah, and Jeremy brings up a good point. I don't think Steve should have cast the brainstorm in his hand first. He should have used the Jace to potentially, you know, ship the unplayable brainstorm back to the top of his deck for potential shuffle.
Hey, can we play old Legend Rule? No, never mind.
And so here, Punishing Fire is going to take care of Steve's Lily pretty quickly. And it looks like Jeremy finally found a Knight, which he can wait to deploy after he takes care of Lily. And if Steve wants to start ticking down his Jace to bounce the Knight, then he will lose his Jace pretty quickly to Punishing Fire. Looking for a Wasteland off the Brainstorm. He'll take care of 2 permanents.
How do you feel about? Oh wait, never mind. Scratch that. Can't cast Punishing Fire
just
again.
Win the game. What am I talking about? A Wasteland on many turns has been able to win the game.
And
Alright, now Jeremy has taken away the possibility of Wasteland killing him. And it really looks like Jeremy's going to be able to win this game. Punishing Fire has done so much work this game.
It is a ridiculously good card. Well, the engine in general.
Brainstorm is
Here he
pitched
can-
off of Lily's +1.
Here he can finish off Liliana, play a Knight, and then if Steve wants to bounce the Knight, which he'll have to or it'll just die on the attack, Jeremy can start pointing fire at Jace.
Bam, and there's the win condition. Life from the Loam.
He gets to play the best creature in Legacy on the Trader.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
And if you're Steve here, do you just concede now, or do you keep going?
So Jeremy's in a very, very commanding position here. He's going to lock Steve off his mana base. He's going to be able to start actually...
There's the Wasteland that for so many
killing.
turns would have won Steve the game.
Oh, exactly. He had quite a lot of time to find it.
But now it's very late. Keeps on top. Could be an Abrupt Decay.
My suspicion, it is either a land or a Tarmogoyf.
Judge!
So the shiny land is a forest, right? So he can't cast Abrupt Decay. He has forest and drop.
Right. It is a unhinged forest. Yep.
Okay.
Not unhinged, sorry, unglued.
Thanks for the follow, 12 ounce.
It's red. and then only put a singular card back.
So wait, you...
Right now, Jeremy's trying to figure out how Dredge and Sylvan Library
Look at a
work.
card.
And then you draft.
And then I need to put so many cards back.
You'll still need to put 2 cards back.
You still need to put 2 cards back.
Right.
So Kory explains how the interaction works, because once again, it is his deck.
Or you need to pick.
If you choose to Dredge
Just wanted to be clear.
on one of the 3 draws that you get from Sylvan Library, you still need to put back the 2 other cards that you draw. And since you haven't actually drawn Loam, you can't put Loam on top of your library. I believe that's the rule.
I think it's pretty crazy how, you know, Steve was in such a commanding position.
Gibble is saying that you can actually take advantage of this by choosing to draw first, and then, well, if you draw first and then Dredge is one of your Sylvan Library draws, you're going to have to still put both cards back that you've drawn. So it doesn't seem like you can abuse this in any way, actually.
Not unless you have 3 Loams.
Okay. 3 Loams would definitely abuse it. Multiple Dredges abuses it. 1 Loam doesn't accomplish anything, really.
But in reality, what are you going to do with 3 Loams? Get back 9 lands and then pass the turn? Like,
You're gonna just, you know, drown in your value.
You can grow in this deck. You can grow your knight to a lethal status by dredging 9 cards.
oh, that's a good point. Great point.
I do not know how big the knight is right now, but it's probably at least a 10th end. And with Wastelands in play on Jeremy's side, he can at least grow it to a 2-turn clock.
I'm just worried about stabilizing first.
Yeah, so with the aggressive draw of 3 Goyfs early on, a Goyf and then Shardless Agent cascading into a Goyf and having another Goyf behind, Jeremy was still able to stabilize the board and grind out this match.
Yeah, he's definitely navigated this game very well.
Look. Second one. I will put 2 that I drew back. Go ahead. Go. I'm gonna make a new one. Sure. Trigger ball punishing flyers. Pull it back.
Now that growth still has to go to. There we go. So I don't think there's any way Steve can get out of this, but it's now just a matter of Jeremy ending the game.
Yeah, it's all over the crying. So
Just going through the motions, and Jeremy actually elects not to use the library trigger for fear of potentially decking out.
So now Steve has both his basics in play.
So this Liliana ultimate is going to be a thing. How do you think that Jeremy's going to split these piles? Just Jason one, lands in the other? It's probably that straightforward.
Yeah, I mean that seems fine, and then you just maintain punishing.
You could even split the forest and the Jace with the swamp.
And then just keep going and then get rid of one of the other two. I'm not really happy with that sequencing there. I think that put Knight of the Reliquary at risk to a top deck Abrupt Decay. Like, the game is just so in Jeremy's favor that it probably
So now he can't even cast Abrupt Decay, so he has no real way of answering anything. So there's definitely no way Steve gets out of this and he picks up his cards.
And I mean,
that
think
was
Steve
quite a grind. I do agree. Jeremy piloted, navigated that quite well.
When I did, 'cause I just don't need that.
Yeah, there were a couple hairy turns for Jeremy there where he was dead to the wasteland.
So sideboard options, we're seeing some great cards Steve is grabbing already. He has a Null Rod, some Meddling Mages, or not Null Rod, sorry, Surgical.
You drew a lot of coins. I finally found my Abrupt Decay of my own.
Meddling Mage is definitely a big problem against lands, but Jeremy has Punishing Fire and Abrupt Decay, so it's not as powerful.
I saw you put one on the bottom with a cascade.
For Mario, I definitely agree. I think Steve should have conceded turns ago, simply because, I mean, I think it was easy to identify that, you know, with no lands in play, recurring Wasteland lock, Liliana ticking up, handling all the creatures, Punishing Fire to control Jace. There's nothing really that Steve has going or could potentially draw unless he had some sort of card in his deck that we just don't know of, but I find that a little bit unlikely.
And there's definitely nothing fast about Steve's deck, so even when I mean, maybe he's trying to be a quick beatdown, but that's not really what Shardless Bug does. So yeah, he probably should have scooped a little earlier. There was so many turns that if Steve had just found a wasteland when Jeremy was, you know, had no chump blockers and only the maze to protect him, that Steve could have snuck that game, but he found it far too late.
Yeah, and I think, in fact, that's a really good point. That Wasteland was probably the closest that Steve would have ever gotten to winning the game. And as soon as the Tarmogoyf was answered, I think at that point may have been the most optimal time to just move on to the next game.
Yeah, there was really no way for Steve to navigate that game to win at that point. He could stall for a while, which he did, but his board state was just getting hacked and hacked until he had only a Jace left as his only permanent, and only then did he pick up his cards.
Right.
However you do, just play it out to the finish, yep.
How's Gunner here?
good. We had a really grindy game 1.
I bet Kory liked that grind.
Oh, I felt pretty good. I'm just glad there's a table for me to hide under.
Nice.
I'm very excited right now. No, this feature match was not biased at all.
I believe you, and that statement is not a lie. It's a lie.
Sarcastaball is a great sport.
So
Anuraag, what are you thinking here? Is your bet on Aggro Loam to finish it up here in game 2?
I feel like Aggro has the tools to dispatch Shardless mode pretty easily. Punishing Fire is great, especially against these like 1/2 weenies in your Veil Restriction, Deathrite Shaman, Shardless Agent. But if Steve catches a good draw, if he's able to find the cards that he's sideboarded in like Surgical Extraction, and all that business, then I think he's got a really good chance of maybe just like slowing down Jeremy enough to be able to get that extra.
There's a great turn 1 out of Jeremy. The Mox resolves, and of course Abrupt Decay resolves.
And I actually want to like revisit game 1 really quickly. There was a very interesting thing that you said in the very beginning, and that was that maybe that Thoughtseize should have taken Mox Diamond in the very beginning.
Just to slow him down a little bit.
Yeah, instead of what did it take?
It took Scavenging Ooze.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because if you imagine, having an extra turn to attack, I don't know how the Scavenging Ooze would have, messed around with the combat math and everything like that.
It could have shrunk the Goyfs. Maybe it might have been able to slow down any sort of clock that Steve was going to try to put on him.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm still not sure. This matchup does not look great for Shardless Bug.
Really,
the best card he has is probably that Surgical out of the board to cut the.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like
Punishing Fire or the Loam engines off, but
exactly.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, if I was playing in Steve's seat right now, what is my game plan?
All right, hear me out. I definitely think the game plan here is Surgical Extraction, but I think it's Surgical Extraction, Jace Briz Prodigy, flip it, extract again, draw another extraction, keep extracting because...
There's the Surgical on the bottom of his library. At least he gets to shuffle it in. Sorry.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So yeah, flashback Surgical. And then eventually...
Something like that, yeah. I mean, just if you can get rid of the tools that Aggro Loam has that makes the matchup tricky for you, like Punishing Fire, for example, Knife from the Loam, I think you bring Aggro Loam to this axis where it has to play fair, where it can't leverage all the engines and cheesiness that it usually has control over to win this sort of matchup.
I'm not sure why Steve is playing his Goyf pre-combat here.
But it is worthwhile to note we have another early double Goyf hand from Steve.
Yes.
Right.
And it is looking, once again, really good. Oh, there's a Lily. Oh, and there's a Maelstrom Pulse.
Wow.
Alright. That clears up the board pretty
Hi, Diana. Welcome back.
quickly.
Oh my goodness, have I been muted this whole time?
Oh,
Yep.
were you talking? Yeah, we...
Have you been talking this whole time?
Wow, this is awkward. I didn't know. Yeah, I've been here saying things.
Oh.
Oh man, I'm sorry. On a side note, Steve, had he drawn Surgical Extraction, he could have gone for the Grove of the Burn Rollers too.
Yeah, it doesn't really accomplish much right now, but you're right. And once again, an aggressive board state turned around quite quickly, and the grind begins for Jeremy.
No, I'm here.
I feel like we have to keep checking periodically.
Thanks. So I appreciate it. I thought I was just like saying things that weren't worth discussing.
No, absolutely not. You've been like giving out some really good points throughout the whole. Holy crap! Is that Centaur card, the 4-mana one?
Yes.
That is a
Centaur
Centaur.
Mind
That is.
Crasher.
I think it's a new card out of one of the recent sets.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's out of Commander.
I'm looking in chat.
So, gang signs as well. Gang signs is when the winner scores.
That's a good win, Con. He can just leave it there until he's ready.
Steve has to Deathrite Shaman that right away.
I did not even know that was printed. Holy cow. That's surprisingly playable for Commander Series.
It's some tech I came up with when I saw it got spoilered.
I mean, that Deathrite Shaman is going to be pretty good right now, if Jeremy doesn't have an answer to it. But yeah, okay.
Huh. Always have the answers.
Gotta be prepared.
Looks like a grove?
Oh, and that's going to be so good.
Yeah, it looks like a Grove Wasteland.
Yikes.
And so, like, once again,
All
we're seeing
the
the power of
answers.
Sylvan Library.
Steve has to stop gaining that life. He needs like a sulfuric vortex or something.
Oh, he uses his waste right here. I guess he's...
Oh, I was told there wasn't Legacy Friday.
I think there's
because
another
it's the
waste
pre-release
on
weekend
top
or something?
of his
Okay.
deck.
Yeah, it was a
But I
Wasteland
can,
Greens and Zenith.
HQ Games, there's no Legacy this week. I guess it's pre-release weekend apparently.
Yeah, he can get back that creature this turn if he wants.
The other thing too, we might need some assistances.
He
We're in
could,
the process of getting a venue.
Oh, he decides to
Phase 8.
take 8.
Oh yeah, that is just sweet. I mean, like we are already seeing again how Sylvan Library is just from the very first turn just taking over everything.
Oh, they already have. Yeah.
He's not going to pay for the Vine Crusher. He's probably getting a night out to just start the engine.
I got a venue lined up.
Yeah, and that seems fine. I mean, you Wasteland Steve.
They're gonna
and
try
then
and get scheduled.
Again, look at that precise resolution. Wait, did he accidentally put it in the graveyard? Okay, I thought he was.
Oh, I like that idea. I
No,
like
this
that
is,
idea.
This is shuffle number 1.
Is the owners?
Wait, where's this?
He needs to put the Green Sun Zenith back in his library.
Yeah,
Also a perfect
he
name,
does
too.
need to do that.
Yeah, like literally.
Corey.
It's a small
Corey.
punk venue that has a
What's
lot
up?
of-
Can you prompt Jeremy to shuffle the Green Sun Zenith?
Oh,
into his
hold on.
library?
Oh, that should be this
yeah.
should be shuffled. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I haven't drawn anything or know the order of my deck, so I'm just going to shuffle it in.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys.
Jeremy, a judge, knowing that this can be backed up
We just want to make sure we can get enough
pretty easily.
Because if we do it, like we're
And now we're completely accurate with the double shuffle.
to make sure they have. They don't really run shows a whole lot during the week.
Cause he's trickster.
But Travis said he'll right, yeah, but Travis said he'll work with us to schedule around it. So if we want to start doing like one legacy and one vintage a month.
So, have any of you guys actually played Trickster in Legacy?
Yes. Actually, we were talking about in light of these
Yeah,
recent
definitely.
proxy
Let me know, and I'll help throw any
budget
kind of-
decks, and I was talking about how I started out with budget Merfolk, and believe it or not, First Catcher is not a cheap card.
I like
So
it.
I had Cozy's Trickster in there in the very beginning, way back.
Yeah, I saw Curse Catcher rose in price at some point with, I think it was Modern Fish becoming sort of playable.
It's just, you know, for Legacy Fish, at least the old build back in the day, it's absolutely vital to what that deck is doing, and it's the only group in kind.
That's
So
my brother, and like, how many people are on 21 that we play with regularly?
Not a lot. I'm just saying though, like if
Yeah, and I mean, I think this game is already wrapped up. Jeremy's just gonna have to go through the motions and
on their website is a scheduled event.
close out the game.
On it, which means other people who play that occasionally go to there for shows are going to see that and go, oh, I might come by that night and grab a couple beers and play some cards. And we got a spot to stream from too. So if you want to stream, we're probably going to run down sometime over the weekend and actually talk to Travis about it.
I haven't been there in 2 or 3 months.
Just to kind of get everything under wraps, if we need tables, if we need chairs, when we can do it, when we can schedule it.
Yeah, people usually complain whenever I mute the mic.
So that gives us time to set up.
Gotcha.
That's the first Wednesday they're free.
And you can just ask me.
It gives time to spread the word.
Yeah, Paul's telling me about this awesome plan. We're talking about doing vintage tournaments from a bar
And then just start
up in Baltimore.
That'd be pretty cool. I'd heard of this one thing in Boston that they ran called Drafts and Drafts, where they would draft at a bar. Because beers around vintage cards is not the greatest idea, but
that's what I was thinking too.
some draft commons and bulk rares. It's not really a big idea. And Jeremy wraps it up here.
Yep, the 14-14 Centaur is going to be a little too much for me to handle.
And the giant knight as well.
Because that was the Centaur's only what mattered that entire game. Nothing else mattered.
Yeah,
that Centaur won the game.
You made me proud, Jeremy.
2 surgicals.
You made me proud.
There were a couple lines, like, as we went longer, like, I could have, like, played differently and, like, had an extra red man in the last game with a Mox Diamond. But the big thing I was just trying to stabilize. I also am going to have to ask you how you like the board in certain matches, but
until then,
I mean, it looks like you figured it out.
That standpoint, games and stuff, obviously, and HQ are moving to sanction.
Oh, hey, Neeraj.
But I cut Teague in this matchup.
You cut Teague in this matchup?
Yeah.
What's up?
I guess it only stops.
What do you call a group of Lordwives?
That's fair.
Oh yeah, I heard you guys talking about
I cut
that
Teague
earlier.
and Crocus.
I cut the Crocus.
Yeah.
I didn't cut the Kevin because I was thinking more on Jason, but I guess there's
I haven't
not
come
much
up with
else
anything.
I really anticipated you to be the voice of reason on this, Neeraj.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I didn't give it much thought.
I could have.
Yeah, you can bring in that. You can bring in him.
This was the other thing I thought about.
Because even Deathrite Shaman's pretty good.
Yeah.
But
Actually,
it's marginal.
I know Hawker, the vintage battle.
Yeah, I got nothing, guys. I'm sorry.
That's all good. I was thinking, what about
like I still have
moves
pretty quick, and I use them.
a beating of Lordwives? Because what else do they do?
I still have 4 balls, but a lot of the shit, the decks are in battle.
Thank you, Kory. I enjoyed this.
Anytime, man.
It changed so much already.
Yeah, vintage standstill deck.
Yeah, vintage moves faster than Legacy as far as metagaming.
Maybe a growth of Lurgoyes, because they grow.
Man, it felt so dirty playing.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I'm like, man, I feel bad for the Deathrite Shaman guy.
That's a great idea. Growth
I didn't
of
feel
Lurk.
bad for the sneak attack.
You said you didn't get any turn 1 chalices tonight.
With the exception of when he didn't Thoughtseize it. It's the only turn 1 chalice I had.
No turn 1 chalices except for that turn 1 chalice.
Well, that turn 1 chalice
Because also we're playing at a
didn't seem like it was the main reason Jeremy won that game.
We're gonna call it there. You guys in the Skype, thanks for helping commentate. If you guys want to give a little brief bio about yourself, and shoot me a link in chat to where we can find you guys online. If you want people to find you, just PM me a link for whatever social network you guys would prefer. I would link. And if you guys just want to go round robin real quick and let us know about yourself and where we can find you.
Yeah, sure. This is Anuraag. You guys can probably find me on my Twitch channel. It's twitch.tv/Anzi104. I'll post it in the group and come watch me stream sometime. Play some filthy miracles.
Okay, I guess I'll go next. I'm Diana, and you can find me at Affinity for Toast on Twitter.
Sure, I'm Brandan, also player from Atlanta that moved up here recently. You can try not to find me online.
Is that Crocus, or?
But if you really feel so, Hagan BMJ on Twitter.
It's already in there.
And I'm Neeraj, and if you tune in to Anuraag's stream, you might see me destroy him with lands, so you could do that.
For the card, not in general.
Or you could find me on Twitch, Twitter at Neeraj MTG, and my moto name is Neeraj if you run into me. Bye.
Okay, well, I want to say
thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for helping commentate. I really appreciate you guys' help, as always. It's really nice having you guys. Thanks everybody in chat for hanging with us and interacting. We're going to be live tomorrow at 7:30 from Curo Cavern. I'll probably be on it around 7. So you guys look forward to that tomorrow. No FNM Legacy this Friday because it is pre-release weekend.
Holy cow, that news set snuck up on me.
Yep, surprise. Otherwise, thanks everybody in chat for hanging out. Make sure to follow us on Twitch if you haven't already. You get notified when we go live. Our schedule is linked below. We also have a Google Calendar if you want to sync up to that for all of our upcoming events. Follow us on Twitter if you want to know when we are going live, and you can also message us there and on Facebook. We post these videos the next day on YouTube as well. Links are all below for you guys. Again, thanks for hanging with us, and I will see you next time.
Yep, have a good night.